You're watching another Rider Nation Station presentation brought to you by TSC and these following fine sponsors.
Well, a very pleasant good evening, everyone, and we welcome you to Bulldogs Stadium in Celina, Ohio, where the rivalry of the lake takes place tonight as the St. Mary's Rough Riders take on the Celina Bulldogs in Western Buckeye League action. Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Hurlbert, and I'll be bringing you all the play-by-play action of tonight's contest. Sitting alongside is Zach Farrell. We'll be bringing his color commentary and statistics along to the broadcast. Zach, it is an absolutely perfect night for football considering it's week 9 of the season.
Yeah, Joe, anytime you can come here in week 9 with just a cup jacket on and not even too many hats out there in the crowd, it's a good night. This is football weather in Ohio.
Absolutely. Well, the Celina Senior Bulldogs come in with a record of 3-5 overall, 2-5 in the Western Buckeye League. The St. Mary's Rough Riders are 6-2 overall, 5-2 in the Western Buckeye League. They're 2 games out of first place in the Western Buckeye League hunt. Of course, they'll need a lot of help with only 2 games remaining tonight and the season finale next week. We'll run down the Western Buckeye League standings as far as this week is concerned. The Ottawa-Glandorf Titans still remain undefeated at the top of the Western Buckeye League at 7-0, followed by Kenton and Wapak at 6-1. The Riders then follow at 5-2. Van Wert is next with 3-4 mark. Then Shawnee and Celina, as well as Bath and Defiance, all have 2-5 marks. And the Elida Bulldogs still winless on the season. They're 0-7. But Zach, as I look down at this week's games, the one game that sticks out is that the Ottawa-Glandorf Titans have to go on the road tonight and take on the Wildcats at Kenton.
Yeah, you look at OG at 7-0, and really the toughest game that they had was St. Mary's in week 2. They still have Wapakoneta at the end of the year as well. So they've got Kenton this week and then Wapakoneta setting up for that Wapakoneta game to be absolutely huge in the WBL. Unfortunately, things didn't work out quite right, so that it's going to be very tough for St. Mary's to be able to squeak in there with 2 losses. But it's interesting as OG is undefeated, but they've actually had some of the closer games against Van Wert and Celina this season where they only won in overtime or won by 1 point during the game. And so it's not your typical top of the league maybe that you would expect for an undefeated team, because most of the time, you wouldn't have those closer games with some of the lower teams like Van Wert and Celina right now. But nonetheless, credit to OG for putting themselves in that position.
Absolutely.
And now if they get the job done these last 2 games, or even one of them, they're going to probably get at least a share of the title.
Absolutely. And as far as the computer rankings are concerned, all the experts are predicting that the St. Mary's Rough Riders should finish in the 5th spot if everything plays out according to Hoyle, and they will finish in the 5th spot. And they would probably be playing in the first round of the postseason Trotwood-Madison if they stay in the 4th spot.
Right, as things are right now, but with Trotwood in their schedule, that could change too. So it's a little tough right now to know exactly where the game might end up. But at least it's looking right now that if St. Mary's takes care of their own business here with the last 2 games, right, that they're going to have a spot no matter what. That's the most important thing. And I know you can't look forward too much, but seeing Wapakoneta there in that region, what an opportunity for St. Mary's to look at a little bit of revenge there.
Well, when we get an opportunity to talk a little bit about St. Mary's tonight in our pregame, I'll give you my opinion of how this ball club has changed chemistry, and we'll do that when we come back right after this.
TV everywhere.
TV everywhere?
That's right, everywhere. You can watch TV from your tablet, your phone, your laptop, any mobile device, anywhere you want.
Laundromat?
Yes.
Grocery store?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
What if I wanted to watch TV at home?
all your favorite networks all the time. It's TV everywhere from TSC.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Even though the music on the patio has come to an end, Guarneri's would like to thank everyone for joining them on the patio on Friday nights. Though the music has ended, stop in and try their signature Big Ralph sub, pizza, or calzone. Guarneri's on Spring Street in St. Mary's. Give them a call at 419-394-2244.
Vogel's Bake Shop, making thousands of fresh donuts daily, open 7 days a week with stores in St. Mary's, Celina, and Walpock. Also now found in Wagner's IGA in New Bremen, Minster, and Fort Laramie.
If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, your job is made easy with Scott Ross Realty. Contact one of their hardworking, well-trained agents today at 419-305-4373 for all of your home buying and selling needs. Scott Ross Realty, wishing all Rough Rider sports good luck.
Alrighty, back to Bulldog Stadium. Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell as the Celina Bulldogs and the St. Mary's Rough Riders clash in their annual rivalry here at Bulldog Stadium. Zach, let's quickly take a look at the Celina Senior Bulldogs. They come in, as I mentioned, 3-5 overall, 2-5 in the Western Buckeye League. Their head coach is Brandon Bader. And I'll tell you what, they're a veteran team in the trenches. But the key players offensively are their quarterback, Cooper Jones, and their running back, Jackson Silliman. And when you look at the statistics in the area and in the Western Buckeye League, these are the two kids that stand out.
Yeah, really, even more than most teams, their offense completely seems to run through their quarterback. Cooper Jones, I watched 2 games for tonight's game. I watched the Wapakoneta game from last week against Celina, and then I watched Celina play OG earlier in the year. The difference in those 2 games, points-wise, was they got blown out by Wapakoneta last week, and they only lost by 1 point against OG in the late game. So I wanted to see the difference in how that team played. It didn't seem like necessarily Celina played very differently against those 2 teams, but the 2 teams' defenses looked at them differently. Celina pressed their receivers, didn't allow them to make a lot of short passes, and really shut them down running. OG sat back a little bit, allowed for a lot more of the short passes, the short outs, the stops, and then they also allowed Cooper Jones to rush for a little bit off tackle, and Jackson Silliman to get a lot of rushes off tackle. So it'll be interesting. I'm sure St. Mary's coaches looked at those same film. Hopefully that they get up and press the receivers, take away some of those stops, and let the talented defensive line for St. Mary's take care of the rushers in the back there. But certainly this offense for Celina will run through Cooper Jones, and it's sort of up to him to decide how well he plays, how well their offense will play.
He's a very good athlete. He's a junior. He comes into tonight's contest completing 79 of 140 passes for 685 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's thrown 1 interception. He also has 135 carries on the season for 846 yards, 11 touchdowns on the season, running the football alone. And he's averaging about 6.3 yards per carry. On the other side, Jackson Silliman, their running back, 113 carries to date, 696 yards for 7 touchdowns. He's averaging about 6.2 yards per carry. As the St. Mary's Rough Riders make their way on to Bulldogs in the Bulldog Stadium right now in this hometown crowd, we're sitting right amongst them tonight.
Yeah. We can hear the cowbells are rolling.
Well, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the St. Mary's Rough Riders of Doug Fry. When we do that and more, you're listening to Rough Rider Football on Rider Nation Station. We'll be back right after this.
St. Mary's Foundry is a global leader in manufacturing complex iron castings. Our skilled workforce takes pride in producing the highest quality iron castings, weighing up to 60,000 pounds. St. Mary's Foundry wants to take this opportunity to give a big shout out to all our local teams, wishing them a safe and extraordinary season. And speaking of great teams, St. Mary's Foundry would like to thank its very own team of hardworking employees for their loyalty and dedication. If you're looking for rewarding challenges and first-string wages and benefits, check us out at stmfoundry.com or on hometownopportunities.com. St. Mary's Foundry, where iron and ingenuity meet. If you're looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer is your go-to man. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Improve your investment by giving Hewer Renovating a call at 419-394-8643.
Auglaize Equipment Rental is your source for all your equipment needs. Whether you're a contractor or a homeowner with a project, we can help get the job done more efficiently. Check us out at 1900 Celina Road or auglaizeequipmentrental.com or just call 419-394-7883. Auglaize Equipment Rental.
All righty, we're back at Bulldog Stadium. Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell, as now both teams have made their way onto the playing surface. We'll be awaiting for the playing of the national anthem by the Celina Senior High School marching band. While they're doing that, Zach, let's talk a little bit about the St. Mary's Rough Riders. Of course, playing extremely well, and I told you that I was going to give you my thoughts. OG and Wapakoneta, 2 games that the Rough Riders lost earlier in the season. That was without quarterback Kurt Bupp. Since Kurt Bupp has entered at quarterback, this whole team offensively has taken on a whole different chemistry. They play with a whole lot of confidence, and I honestly believe if they were to play those 2 teams in the near future, I think the outcome would be maybe a little bit different.
Absolutely. I think you saw head to toe on this team a lot of younger players earlier in the season and a lot of unsure players and positions that we weren't sure about whether they needed to be there or whether that was they were still figuring out where everybody needed to go. So as the team has become more confident in those positions and putting the players in the right positions, the entire team seems to be playing better and more confident. So I'd agree with you, and I think it would absolutely be a different game against OG and Wapak, and that's why I was really excited about the potential for that coming in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Well, offensively, the Rough Riders are led at quarterback by senior Kurt Bupp. He's 14 of 27 for 277 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's throwing 51% pass completion rate. Now, do you know that he leads the area as far as quarterback efficiency? He's almost about 199.
Wow. That's
and I think the big key is he's got no interceptions.
Right. I was going to say that's we talked about that last week. His biggest strength is that he doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't fumble and doesn't throw interceptions. So he's not going to necessarily single-handedly win the game for you with any kind of heroics there. But he brings an attitude to it, and he brings a lack of making any mistakes that really helps.
Yeah, and in the backfield, you've got Ethan Wedding and Ty Howe. And this is how balanced the Rough Riders running game has been. Ethan Wedding, 67 carries, 426 yards, 5 TDs. Ty Howe, 68 carries, 442 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But, you know, that's just good, balanced running attack in the backfield. And, of course, we'll probably see Hunter Fraley. We can also see Adam Hinkle and Ross Henshin in the backfield tonight. I'm expecting, from what I'm hearing, the reports are saying for me that I get from the people that have seen Celina play, that maybe the Rough Riders are going to get a lot of kids in the ball game tonight. But here again, you have to play it between the lines, and only time will tell.
Yeah, what I noticed on the same film with Wapakoneta and OG against Celina was that Celina defensive line actually did a great job of stopping a lot of the runs. They would stop them, though, for 3 or 4 downs, and then, unfortunately, they would give up a giant play, a 50, 60-yard run. So that's dangerous when you have a rivalry game like this where they're going to be having more energy and maybe more focus.
Right.
All they got to do is stop the big plays from St. Mary's, and they may be able to put up a better fight, similar to how they did with OG.
Right now we're waiting the playing of the national anthem by the Celina Senior High School Marching Band. The color guard is to our left, which is the south portion of the stadium.
Joe, I think they're actually singing from a choir the national anthem, so maybe the band will not be playing it.
I can barely hear them, but I think you're absolutely right. Well,
there's always a wrinkle, Joe.
Yeah, and we're always the last to know. But the Rough Riders, Zach, let's take a look at the Rough Riders. on offense real quick if you could.
Sure. At left tackle, we have number 76, junior Gavin Ward. At left guard, number 52, sophomore Stash Patterson. Center, number 62, senior Riley Swigert. Right guard, number 56, senior Logan Allen. Right tackle, number 50, junior Devin Shannon. At tight end, number 97, Blake Kenor. At wide receiver, number 7, Dylan Troglin. We'll also see Ethan Freewalt, number 27, Austin Parks, number 85, and number 9, Gavin Reinecke, rotating in at that split end position. Of course, we got Kurt Bupp at senior, number 2 at quarterback. Number 6, junior Ethan Wedding at halfback. Number 29, junior Hunter Fraley at fullback. Also, we'll see freshman number 3, Aiden Hinkle, rotate in there, and possibly number 20, Ross Henschen. And then at the other halfback, number 12, senior Ty Howe.
Well, the Rough Riders have elected to receive to start this contest. And most likely you will see Ty Howe, Dylan Troglin, maybe Braden Hemmelgarn will be down there as well. The Rough Riders in the last 3 games, two of the last 3 games, they returned the opening kickoff for a score. Last week, Braden Hemmelgarn returned an excellent return on the kickoff and gave the Rough Riders excellent field position to start the contest on the back side of the 50.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Celina coaches opt to kick it deep to them or not.
Yeah, when I talked to Coach Fry earlier this week on the Doug Fry Show, they said that teams are going to start to be changing things up, moving, maybe shortening up their kickoffs a little bit to kick away from the 3 deep backs for the Rough Riders, and that's exactly who's back here. Hemmelgarn, Ty Howell in the middle, and Dylan Troglin. St. Mary's, Celina on Rider Nation Station. Glad to have you along. Hope you enjoy it tonight here on your Rider Nation Station.
Joe, the Lyman News back in 2002 did a wide-ranging survey of the entire area. This was the #1 rivalry, St. Mary's and Celina,
really?
Out of the entire northwest central Ohio area.
This kickoff return is being brought to you by State Farm agent Laura Yelton. Be a legend, insure your life. It was a short kickoff by the Celina Bulldogs kicker Ethan Dirksen, and the Rough Riders will have the ball 1st and 10 at their own, we'll call it their own 44-yard line.
Great job there by Carson Fishball, taking his time, making sure that he picked up the ball correctly and didn't let it fumble out at all. Couldn't get a big return on it, but there we go. Doesn't look like Celina's willing to kick it deep tonight.
So the Rough Riders will have the ball 1st and 10, just underway here at Bulldog Stadium in Celina. It'll be Kurt Bupp. He'll give the ball up, I believe, to
Aiden Hinkle.
So Hinkle gets the start tonight for the Rough Riders at fullback. We'll give him a gain of about 1. We'll call it. We'll give him a gain of 2. We'll call it 2nd down and 8. Well, this is a short run for Kurt Bupp tonight as he brings in the plays from head coach Doug Fry. Riley Swigert, your center. Bupp under center, full house backfield. Give it to Hinkle. Hinkle off the left side. Good push by the left side of the offensive line for the Rough Riders. We'll give him another gain of about 2. That'll bring up 3rd down and 6 for the Rough Riders.
So far, it looks like the coaches saw the same thing I did, which was that Walpock was able to gain some ground running straight at Celina. When they tried to run to the sideline, Celina was able to meet him speed to speed. But some of the big runs for Walpock were off tackle, so looks like St. Mary's will probably be hitting that inside of that line pretty heavily tonight.
This is just straight smash mouth football. Hand off to Howe. He's going to sweep to the left. He picks up a block, and he's going to be close to a Rough Rider 1st down. He's run out of bounds, so the clock will stop. I think they're going to spot him about 2 yards, maybe 3 yards short, so it'll bring up 4th down and long, and the Rough Riders are going to punt the football away. Going back to receive the punt for the Celina Bulldogs is Brandon Stogler, and he'll stand inside his own. He'll be standing right at the 10-yard line. Brandon Bowers will do the punting for the Rough Riders, averaging 32 yards per punt. Good snap, nice kick. It's going to turn over, nice spiral. Stogler with the catch. And he is brought down immediately by the Rough Riders special teams. Lucas Walters there on the tackle. Trey Fisher's in there as well. Ethan Freewalt. And here comes the rest of the Rough Rider defense.
Yeah, you kind of thought maybe Coach Fry would think about going there. You know, you're on the other side of the 50. your offense is sort of moving the ball. You want to keep that momentum, but I think more than anything is you don't want to give Celina any momentum. You don't want to give them any energy early on.
Absolutely.
You want to try to put them away with your defense and come back to live another day with your offense.
Absolutely. Cooper Jones will be the quarterback for the Celina Bulldogs. Just a junior. He'll be in the shotgun formation. He's going to keep the football, run up the middle, and he is stopped by the Rough Riders. Hunter Foltz is in there to make the initial stop. Also is Ethan Wedding. Also Trace Mabry in there as well.
Looks like Tanner Howe, too, number 35. Of course, we're going to see him in almost every play tonight.
This is amazing because in the statistics, Tanner Howe leads this team in tackles.
Wow.
Over Blake Canor by about 11 tackles. Jones in the shotgun. He's going to hand off and give it to Silliman, I believe. Jackson Silliman, he'll pick up, we'll give him another gain of about 3. It'll be up 3rd and 5 for the Bulldogs. St. Mary's Rough Riders are in their traveling gold pants with blue and white stripes, with white jerseys and blue numerals and gold helmets. The Celina Bulldogs are in their home gray pants with green shirts, white numerals, and white helmets. Cooper Jones calls the signals, drop straight back. He's looking to go deep, and he's going to overthrow Stogler. So that'll bring up 4th down, and Coach Fry's decision to punt the football pays big dividends, as the Rough Riders should get the football in excellent field position when this is all said and done.
Yeah, I think you gotta make sure that you're not giving the other team too much momentum early on. So you punt the ball there, and then your defense steps up for you right there.
Back to
shows
punt.
A lot of confidence.
Cooper Jones, high end over end punt, comes to Ty Howell at about the 46. Cross midfield, breaks a tackle, and he is brought down at about the 40-yard line of the Celina Bulldogs. I think they're going to mark it at about the 39-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 Rough Riders at the Celina Bulldog 39-yard line. Again, another good return by the Rough Rider special teams. And if you joined me and saw the Doug Fry show, he gives a lot of kudos to this special teams unit. Aiden Hinkle on the carry off the right side. He'll pick up maybe about a yard on the play. So we'll call it 2nd down and 9.
Yeah, they're going to want to be able to get more than a yard. They want to keep staying inside there.
Well, they're setting something up, I can guarantee it.
Yep.
Austin Parks goes wide to the left. Here comes a counter back to Howell. Howell busts a tackle, and he is brought down by the shirt.
It looked close to a horse collar tackle there.
Just about.
Have to see here in the replay, did he get his shirt or did he get his yeah, it looks like a good no call there. He had the jersey instead of the actual pad. So we learned that this year in some of the rules of the game shows. But
free Walt, Hunter Fraley into the ball game. Full house backfield. He turns, give the ball to Ty Howell. Goes off the left side. He's going to be close to a 1st down. It depends on where the officials mark the ball, and I think he's going to be a little bit short. Good job by the left side of the offensive line. There was a nice hole there. Good defense by the Celina Bulldogs as Corey Fortcamp, Nate Preston was in on the stop.
Yeah, I think the left guard, Stash Patterson, has to be one of the most improved players that I've seen personally this year. From the first game to now, just absolutely turning it on as a sophomore.
Big play for the Rough Riders here. 4th and less than a yard. Long count by Bupp. He'll give it to Wedding, and I think he's not going to make it. I think depending, they're going to stop him. So the Rough Riders are going to come up short, and they're going to turn the ball over on downs.
Yeah, it looks like the guard and the tackle.
Now wait a minute. I think they're going to time
They're
out.
gonna measure it.
They're going to measure. Well, this will be interesting.
The tackle and the guard did a good job of crashing their men down in, but there was no one outside of them to really take care of the defensive end, and he was just able to come in free and get right into Ethan Wedding's face. And
7:18 remaining here in the first quarter on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Again, Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell on Rider Nation Station. Again, if you are watching us or listening to us, we ask that in the comment section, if you wouldn't mind, just make a comment as to where you are listening to us from. And the Rough Riders, after the measurement, pick up the first down. So that is a big first down for the Rough Riders. So the Rough Riders' momentum will continue on as the Rough Riders will have a new set of downs, and it'll be 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line of Celina.
Well, that measurement was as close as you can get, Joe.
Bupp's going back to pass. He's got Ty Howell in the end zone. He's got it! Touchdown Riders! 31-yard pass play from Kurt Bupp to Ty Howell gives the Rough Riders the first lead of the ball game, 6-0 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. We get a chance to see it. We just saw that on the replay.
I love that call by Doug Fry. It says, you know, after that little break there with the measurement, maybe catch the defense sleeping, so you send one over the top, and Ty Howell's got the speed for it.
Brandon Bowers will do the point after kick. Kurt Bupp will hold. Waylon McCollum running in on the field right now. A man short. Still have plenty of time. 22 seconds on the play clock. Here's the kick. It's up, and it is in the Pines. So on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, it's the St. Mary's Rough Riders 6, the Celina Bulldogs nothing. We'll take a break. We'll come back with a kickoff to Celina right after this.
Varsity Lanes, home of the Rough Riders 2018-19 Boys and Girls State Bowling Champions. Striking up delicious food, 32 taps, Queen of Hearts, and nightly food and drink specials with a great family atmosphere. Carry out is available. Stop in and see us after the game. Go Riders!
7:06 remaining here in the first quarter. The Rough Riders draw first blood on a 31-yard touchdown pass from Kurt Bupp to Ty Howell. This kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Laura Yelton. Be a legend. Insure your life. Back to return the kick for the Celina Bulldogs is number 11. That's Eric Gallimore. And again, the Rough Riders special teams stopping. I think one of the goals of your kickoff team is to not allow them to get to the 20.
Right.
So I think I think they met that goal.
Unfortunately, I think they're going to call a unsportsmanlike taunting here after the play. I think maybe on number 10, Trey Fisher, he just got a little too excited after the play. I didn't think it was too bad, but you can kind of see there number 10 after the play. He kind of punched the air above the player, and I guess the head official thought it was.
I'll tell you, you just got to keep your composure.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. And, and of course, Fisher's a senior, so you just like to keep your composure. So we're going to march off 15 yards for the unsportsmanlike conduct, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Celina at their own 35-yard line. Cooper Jones, the quarterback. Lone setback is Silliman. Jones with the keeper to the right. He's going to cut back, and he'll gain about 8. Good run by Cooper Jones.
Yeah, did a really good job of being patient. Just went outside, let the lane set up, picked his lane, and went for it.
Now keep in mind, Cooper Jones and Jackson Silliman are pretty much their running offense. That's about it. So it'll be 2nd down. We'll call it 2 for the Celina Bulldogs at their own 43. Cooper Jones in the shotgun. He's going to give the ball to Silliman. He'll pick up the first down. Give him a gain of about 5 yards on the play. And on the stop is Trace Mabry, as well as Tanner Howell. 6 minutes and 10 seconds remaining here in the first quarter in the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Rough Riders lead 7-0 in case you just joined us. receiver, number 80, wide to the left. Cooper Jones in the shotgun. Give the ball to Silliman, and he'll sweep to the right, and he'll pick up a gain of about 3.
Yeah, you want to see if the St. Mary's defense can stop this little bit of momentum that Celina's getting there with the penalty and the first down. Because if Celina reacts the same way that they did last week, where they got down 2 or 3 touchdowns, there wasn't much fight in them in the second half last week against Wapak. I think you want to try to get them there if you're St. Mary's.
Jones in the shotgun. Here comes, he gives the ball to Silliman, and he breaks the tackle. Good job by Silliman, good second effort. He broke a tackle and was able to pick up about 6 yards on the play.
Yeah, kind of had him dead to rights. Thought maybe the center had a little bit of a false snap there. Sort of twisted the ball up and then snapped it, but
we'll call it 3rd down and 2 for the Celina Bulldogs. Colin Harris wide to the left for Celina. Jones in the backfield. He's going to keep it. We got a flag. We're going to have motion. I think Jackson Silliman started too early. So we'll see. There we go. He started, Silliman, the running back, started a little bit too early, so they'll back it up 5. And it'll be 3rd down and 7 for Celina.
Might have to credit that one to the Cowboy Mafia, Joe, for getting in his ear over here. As well as our ears.
Exactly,
as well as
I was going to say, they're in our ears as well.
Probably everybody else at home, too.
And I'll tell you, that group's a lot of fun. Harris wide to the left, along with Quinn Andrew. Here comes Silliman. He breaks the tackle, and he is finally stopped on the play after a gain of about 1. Maybe 2, depends on where they spot the football.
Good job there for St. Mary's of guys following up on the tackle. Because he looked like they had him wrapped up in the backfield, and he slipped out of it nicely. Was able to find a couple more yards, but now they made it a very tougher 4th and 6 here, and they might be punting.
Official timeout. Lucas Walter comes off the field. I think he's got blood on his arm. They're going to wrap it.
Nope, we're going to go for it.
So with 4th and 5, the Celina Bulldogs are going to go for it with 3:43 remaining here in the first quarter. Cooper Jones, the quarterback, in the gun. He's flushed out the pocket. He rolls to the right. He's got riders in his face. He escapes. He's going to his left. He wants a receiver to go deep. And second effort is going to get them a first down.
Unbelievable.
Boy, the Rough Riders had him dead to rights about 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. We'll see it on our replay. Good job of Cooper Jones keeping this play alive.
Yeah, the right side of the Rough Rider defensive line and some of the linebackers that blitzed, they were trailing them across the right side of the field, and they just let themselves get sucked up a little bit too far inside, and he was able to slip outside of them and go around the left side as he doubled around.
1st and 10 for Celina at the Rough Rider 39-yard line. Silliman in motion, swing pass to Silliman. He'll take it on the right side. He's got a first down, give him a gain of about 14 on the play. He's knocked out of bounds. Carson Fischbach is over there. Tanner Howell is over there as well.
I think Ethan Wedding laid the big hit here.
Just good downfield blocking by the Bulldog receivers. It'll be 1st and 10. The Bulldogs are on the move.
Yeah, it's a good play call, too. They ran that right into the blitz, so there was nobody to cover Silliman on that side.
Ball is at the St. Mary's 22-yard line. Quick pass over to the tight end, number 14. And he'll get the ball down inside the 5-yard line. Pass was complete to Max Toby, the big tight end. And the Bulldogs will have the ball 1st and goal at the Rough Rider 3-yard line. So here again, Bulldogs are knocking on the door. Jaden King's in the backfield for Celina. Cooper Jones is in the pile, and he's going to go to the left and a touchdown. Good second effort again by Cooper Jones. It looked like the Rough Riders had him stopped in the pile, but he kept his legs moving. And
yeah, there was a pile in front of him, and he kind of jumped into the pile, but there was nobody from St. Mary's there to really tackle him, so he just kind of walked back off the pile and decided to go around the left side.
Lucas Walter had him. He broke that tackle.
Yep.
And he goes into the end zone. So the point after touchdown will be attempted by Ethan Dirksen. The kick is up. It's no good. So with 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining to go here in the first quarter on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, it's the St. Mary's Rough Riders 7, the Celina Bulldogs 6. We'll take this break. We'll come back right after this.
Unique Awards and Signs, here to take care of your signage, graphic award, and gift customization needs. From banners for your graduate or corporate sponsors to awards recognizing those dedicated employees or champion sport teams. Stop in at 1865 Celina Road or call us at 419-394-1612.
All righty, back at Bulldog Stadium. Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell on Rider Nation Station. This kickoff return is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Laura Yelton. Be a legend. Ensure your life. Ethan Dirksen, short kick again. It'll be picked up by Carson Fishbach. He drops it and bobbles it, and then he falls on it. So the Bulldogs special teams on the kickoff are doing exactly what we thought they would do, and they're kicking away from the deep three of the Rough Riders. And Carson Fishbach had an opportunity to pick up some good yardage on that one, but he just lost the handle, and then he wisely falls on the football instead of picking it up and running it.
Yeah, I gave him praise on the first one tonight for fielding it correctly, but unfortunately couldn't get the same on that one.
Here comes Dylan Troglin on the sweep. Good run by Troglin. We'll give him a gain of about 14 yards on the play. Rough Riders sent Austin Parks, 85, to the wide side of the field. They run right to him. Good job downstairs.
Yeah, it's interesting. Dylan Troglin, is one of the fastest players on the team, and they must have saw something that they thought, hey, if we get a fast guy to the edge there, we can catch him and get upfield, and they're able to do it there. Nearly broke it.
Troglin and Wedding lined up behind Bupp. They'll give the ball back to Troglin. He's going to sweep to the right again, and he breaks a tackle, and he'll get to the 50-yard line. So another nice run.
I tell you, number 53, Jared Zimmerly, might have saved a touchdown there. He came from an inside linebacker position and just didn't actually make the tackle. Actually, it's number 63, Corey Fortcamp, came from the nose tackle position. Wow, was able to slow him up there. Otherwise, he had blockers down the field.
Parks wide to the right. Give the handoff to Ethan Wedding. He'll get the first down for the Rough Riders. They'll get a fresh set of downs. Well, we saw the first two series that the Rough Riders had the ball in the opening two possessions. They ran really between tackle to tackle for two series. Then they opened it up with a 31-yard touchdown pass to Ty Howe for the score. Now all of a sudden they're starting to go wide and spread the Celina defense.
Yep, and they moved Ethan Wedding to fullback. That gives them a little bit more speed there. And it looks like they saw something on the film that they think they can exploit.
Here comes Dylan Troglin on the sweep. Riders are running to the short side of the field. And this is an interesting note. Skip Bachman used to run a lot into the short side of the field, and you know why? It's like an extra blocker
right
over there. So we'll give Troglin a gain of about 5 yards. We'll call it second down and 5. Troglin and Wedding behind Bupp, and we got whistles on the play.
Timeout, Celina.
So Celina calls timeout with 52 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. The Rough Riders lead on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard 7-6. We'll take a break. We'll come back right after this.
Here to help make life go right is your local Good Neighbor State Farm agent, Laura Yelton, with 30 years experience. Visit Laura and her team located in downtown St. Mary's for your auto, home, banking, and life insurance needs. Be a legend. Insure your life.
Just an absolutely perfect night for football here in week number 9. Temperatures in the, I'd say, low to mid 50s. Rough Riders have the football. They'll run the trap with Wedding. He'll break a tackle and is brought down on the play by the Celina defense.
You know, the other thing I saw about this drive, Joe, was the pace that St. Mary's was trying to get the plays in and get moving. And I think Celina might have called a timeout to try to put it into that. Doug Fry, I know he really likes his team on offense to have a good pace about him.
Quarterback keeper by Bupp. Should have enough for the first down. It depends on where the officials spot the football.
It's going to be close. It's a tough spot there with a big pile.
Well, they're going to mark the ball short. So it'll be fourth down, we'll say less than a yard. I don't know if the Rough Riders are going to get this play off or they're going to let the clock run out. We're down to 14 seconds here in the first quarter. Riders hustle to the line. We're down to 7 seconds. There's the snap. Give the ball to Troglin on the sweep to the right. He'll get the first down and he'll get run out of bounds with 1/10 of a second left.
So we're going to be one more play over here, I guess.
Good job by the Rough Riders out there. Leading the play was Logan Allen. So 1/10 of a second. So this will be the last play of the first quarter. And it'll be a handoff to Wedding off the right side. We'll give him a gain of probably about 4 on the play. And that's going to be the end of the first quarter. Want to remind everybody right now it's time for our Big Ralph radio replay. So we hope you enjoy that, and it's being brought to you tonight by Guarneri's on Spring Street, home of the signature Big Ralph sub, pizza, and calzone. Come try our thirst-quenching Rider-Aid before, during, and after the game. It's Guarneri's. Give them a call at 419-394-2244. We hope you enjoy this edition of the Big Ralph Rider Replay.
Pickup of 8. That's probably only the second time that they've run wide in this entire ball game. Second down at 8. The tackles are Charlie Waller and Luke Hayes. The tight end is Greg Waller. The alternate ends are Aaron Braun and Sean Lamb, both doing an outstanding job tonight. In the backfield, it is Mike Elston, Mike Compton, and Chet House. Freddie brings them out in the full house backfield. Freddie calls the signals, turns, hand the ball. It is Mike Compton. It is Mike Compton. He is to the 50. He is to the 40. He is to the 30. He is to the 20. 10, 5, touchdown, and he's on the board.
Wow, Mike Elston.
Damon calls the signal.
Mike Elston. Boy, I tell you what a team. What a team. Well, we hope you enjoy that edition of the Big Ralph Radio Replay. We'll have one again between the third and fourth quarters. Back to action. Ty Howell on a sweep to the left. He'll jump over a defender and he'll be knocked out of bounds. But not after he picks up a first down.
You know, that was something we don't see very much, which is Ty Howell take a sweep outside and stay outside. Normally likes to cut it back to the middle, but Celina really doing a good job of flowing outside. I think we'll probably see St. Mary's try a few more inside runs now that they got him thinking about those outside sweeps.
Riley Swigert to center. Bupp turns. He'll give the ball to Ethan Wedding off the left side. He'll bang it forward for about 3 yards. It'll bring up second down. We'll call it second down and 7. The ball setting at the Celina Bulldog 13-yard line. Kurt Buff. Troglin in the wing to the left. Give the ball to Ty Howell, sweeping to the left, and he is brought down on a nice tackle by number 53 for Celina.
Yeah, that's Jared Zimmerly. It's tough to see. You know, now I'm looking at it. That may have been a 63 or 53 earlier, but he's made a couple good plays tonight coming from that middle linebacker position.
I think obviously the Rough Riders are in 2-down territory unless they want to go to the foot of Brandon Bowers to attempt a field goal. But nonetheless, it's 3rd down and 4. Ball at the Celina 10-yard line. Bupp will turn, give the ball to Ty Howell. He'll go off the left side between center and tackle, or guard and tackle, and he'll pick up a first down for the Rough Riders. Good job there on the play by Gavin Ward. Stash Patterson opening up a hole for Ty Howell.
Yeah, it looked like we used to call that an inside sweep or a 27-26. Instead of, the same action as a sweep, instead of going outside, you're going inside the tight end.
So it'll be first down and goal for the Rough Riders at the Celina 4-yard line. Full house backfield. Wedding on the right side. And he is stood up by the Celina defensive front. Now keep in mind, Celina's defense are senior, and senior.
Yep.
So they are a veteran ball club up front. So we'll see if the Rough Riders elect to take one wide or maybe even throw a pass. Aiden Hinkle comes into the ball game for the Rough Riders.
Yeah, that's what I saw on film. They're very good up front. They can play a little high, which gives you some opportunities to block them easier. They're not creating as many piles, but they're big, they're strong, and if they can get and disrupt the run, they've got some guys that will come in and clean up pretty nice with tackling. Where Walpock was able to exploit them is when you could get past them quickly. They didn't have much in the secondary that they were able to stop them.
Turn, give the ball to Hinkle, and it's a touchdown. Aiden Hinkle from 3 yards out, and the Rough Riders are on the scoreboard again and lead 13-6 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard.
Well, when in doubt, you give it to your 6'3", 190-pound freshman, and you say, hammer it in there, son.
Get us 6 points.
Right.
Brandon Bowers will be on to attempt the point after touchdown out of the hold of Kurt Bupp. There's the snap. There's the kick. It is up, and it is good. So with 9 minutes and 18 seconds remaining here in the first half, on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, it's the St. Mary's Rough Riders 14, the Celina Bulldogs 6. We'll be back right after this.
Do you find yourself faced with injustice or confronted with a legal matter that you need help resolving? If so, call attorney David Walbacher at 216-225-9181. That's attorney David Walbacher for all your legal needs.
All righty, back at Bulldog Stadium, Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. We want to remind everybody that you can watch the replay of tonight's ball game on TSC channels 702 and 13.1 starting Monday at around 10 a.m. and it will run periodically throughout the week. So we hope you enjoy the rebroadcast, the video portion of tonight's ball game. This kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Laura Yelton. Be a legend. Insure your life. Bowers with the kickoff, and he'll kick it off deep. And it'll be number 11. That's Eric Gallimore. He's got a hole to the left side, and he is finally brought down on the play by Ethan Wedding.
Yeah, Ethan Wedding was Rough Riders' last hope there because Gallimore had found a seam and was pretty fast coming through it.
I'll tell you what, Brandon Bowers, as the kicker, has really come along this season. He's starting to kick a little bit higher and also a little bit deeper. So the Celina Bulldogs will have it first and 10 at their own 21-yard line. Cooper Jones in the backfield. Quick catch, it comes out to number 4. And he is tackled on the play by Ty Howell. The pass was completed to Brandon Stogler.
Yeah, Dylan Troglin did a nice job there getting into him as well.
Yep, and Brandon Paul.
Ooh, ball slipped out there at the end too, but whistle was already blown.
So it'll be gain of 4 on the play. Bring second down and 6. Cooper Jones has 2 running backs in the backfield. And the ball's loose on the field.
St. Mary's has it.
And the Rough Riders recover. Just not a clean handoff.
Yep.
Just not a clean handoff between Cooper Jones and his running back.
Number 97, Blake Canor came up with it. But that one was all on the quarterback and running back.
Absolutely. So the Rough Riders will have the ball in Celina territory. First down and 10.
Yeah, you're up 14-6. This is your time to put them away, Joe.
Absolutely.
To break their spirits.
8:29 in the first half remaining. Ty Howell on the run. He'll take it to the left. He's going down the sideline. And I think he's going in for a score. So Ty Howell puts another 6 on the board for the Rough Riders. You can see him coming right at us on the replay, and he just runs down the left sideline in for a touchdown.
Great job down there, I think, by Logan Yelton on that camera, getting a great view of that. Well, that's the way to try to break them, Joe. First play from scrimmage, take it 25 yards for a touchdown.
Bowers in to try the extra point for the Rough Riders out of the hold of Kurt Bupp. It's up, and it is good. So at 8:21 remaining on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, it is the St. Mary's Rough Riders 21, the Celina Bulldogs 6. We'll take a break. We'll come back right after this.
St. Mary's Foundry is a global leader in manufacturing complex iron castings. Our skilled workforce takes pride in producing the highest quality iron castings, weighing up to 60,000 pounds. St. Mary's Foundry wants to take this opportunity to give a big shout out to all our local teams, wishing them a safe and extraordinary season. And speaking of great teams, St. Mary's Foundry would like to thank its very own team of hardworking employees for their loyalty and dedication. If you're looking for rewarding challenges and first-string wages and benefits, check us out at stmfoundry.com or on hometownopportunities.com. St. Mary's Foundry, where iron and ingenuity meet.
This kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Laura Yelton. Be a legend. Ensure your life. Brandon Bowers' kickoff is taken by...
That's Gallimore again, I think.
By Quade Gallimore. And he brings it out to their own 34-yard line. Good return by the Celina Bulldogs. So the Bulldogs will have the football, 1st and 10 at their own 34-yard line. 8:13 remaining here in the first half on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Cooper Jones in the backfield by himself, calls the signal. He's going to run it to the right. He breaks a couple of tackles and is finally brought down by Blake Knorr.
I thought we might see Celina maybe try to throw it a little bit more now that they're down 21-6. But they're going to stick with the run. You know, when everything's running through Cooper, they've got to stick with them.
So it'll be 2nd down, and we'll call it a long one for the Celina Senior Bulldogs. Sullivan on the carry, and I don't think he's going to, well, the second effort gets him across the 45-yard line. So it'll be a 1st down for the Celina Bulldogs as they'll get a fresh set of downs. Again, good push by the offensive line of the Celina Bulldogs. And of course, the offensive line is the strength of Celina. On that right side, Aaron Cole, Rich Wally, and Max Tovey. Silliman on the carry, and he'll go right back up the middle, and we'll give him a gain of about 6 yards on the play before he's brought down by Blake Knorr.
Now you're seeing Celina pick up the pace. They're trying to run plays a little quicker now.
Silliman, I believe, is the ball carrier for Celina. And he'll get a gain of about maybe 1 on the play. So it'll bring up 3rd down and about 4. Ball is setting at the St. Mary's 48-yard line.
Yeah, they're not having much luck running to that side where Tanner Howell is because he's up there in the hole almost every single time. They really got to get a hat on Tanner Howell if they want to try to run over there.
Cooper Jones will take the ball himself, and he's going to be a little bit short, I believe, of the 1st down. It's going to be 4th down, and we'll call it, it's close. It's good. 4th down in inches, so they're going to call a timeout. They're going to measure. Yeah, they're gonna call a timeout, official timeout on the field. They're going to, I believe they're going to measure. So while they do that, we'll take this quick break with 5:58 remaining on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. The Rough Riders lead 21-6. Back after this.
Fellowship of Christian Athletes is a middle school and high school club looking to spread God's love throughout numerous schools and communities of our local area. FCA's favorite play of the game is both teams joining together in prayer at the conclusion of the game. God bless you, sports fans.
All righty, back at Bulldog Stadium. Joe Hurlbert along with Zach Farrell on Rider Nation Station. Glad to have you along. It'll be 4th down and 22 inches.
A little bit longer than it looked like to start.
It did, absolutely. So if this isn't Cooper Jones, I'll be surprised. And it is, and he goes right up the middle, and he picks up more than enough for the first down. Give him a gain of about 4 on the play. So Cooper Jones, out of the gun, takes it right up the gut, and he'll give the Bulldogs another first down.
Yeah, you know, it kind of makes me shiver sometimes as an offensive lineman seeing a short down yardage like that, 4th and short, out of the gun. But it kept a lot of the bigger guys off the field, I think, because they still were in the spread. They still had to respect the spread.
Cooper Jones calls the signals. He's in the gun. He'll give the ball to Silliman. He'll sweep to the right. We got a flag down, and we'll give Silliman a gain of about 5 on the play. We got a hold on the Bulldogs. This one's coming back.
Hard to see on the replay, but that's needed a break in momentum, I think, for the Rough Riders. Makes 1st and 20 instead of 2nd and
absolutely
6.
We'll call it first down and 20 for Celina. The ball is setting just on the 50-yard line. Brandon Stogler wide to the right, 2 receivers to the left. Jones in the gun, Silliman in motion. Jones is going to keep it, and he'll get about 6 yards before he's brought down by Trey Fisher. Also in on the stop for the Rough Riders, Trace Mabry, Tanner Howell, Ethan Wedding, Blake Knorr. Good pursuit by the Rough Rider defense. So we'll call it 2nd down and about, we'll call it 15.
It's Celina trying to use that short side of the field now.
Cooper Jones, 3 receivers to the right, Stogler to the left, Jones. We got a whistle and procedure on Celina. So they're going to mark them back 5 yards again. So the penalties are shooting Celina right in the proverbial foot. 3:58 remaining here in the first half. Football just on the other side of the 50-yard line. We'll call it 2nd down and 18. Stogler wide to the right, 3 receivers to the left. Cooper Jones in the gun. He drops straight back. He's looking at it, and it's caught by Quinn Andrew.
Yeah, St. Mary's brought a blitz that time. Had a lot of men in Cooper Jones's face. He did a great job of recognizing his open receiver there, running an out to the wide side of the field. Nonetheless, with all their penalties, it's still 3rd and 13, so chance for the Rough Riders to get a big stop here.
Absolutely, 3:37 remaining here in the first half. We'll call it 3rd and 13, obvious passing situation for the Bulldogs. They'll send 1 receiver to the right, that's Harris. 1 to the left, 3 to the right. And Cooper Jones is going to go deep. And Trogdon is going to get called for a foul, a pass interference call. Yeah, I don't know. In all honesty, we'll have to take a look at our replay if we can. And I don't know if that ball was even catchable, but nonetheless, Dylan Trogdon ran right up the back of the receiver.
I tell you what, Joe.
Close.
He didn't even really run. Didn't really even touch him very hard.
Yeah.
Had one hand maybe on the waist at the very end, but we did learn in rules of the game, that the catchability does not matter in high school.
Absolutely.
But I didn't really see enough there for that penalty, to be honest.
Yeah. But nonetheless, first down for the Celina Bulldogs at the St. Mary's 29-yard line. Jones will throw the ball out to Stalker, puts a move on Howell, then runs right back to him, and Ty Howell makes the tackle after a gain of about 4. We'll give him a gain of about 3. So we'll call it second down and 7.
Little do-si-do there from the receiver and the defensive back, who can out-twist each other.
Yeah, Ty Howell made it. He got out of the tackle of Ty Howell, then saw Blake Knorr coming right at him. Well, I'm going to go the other way, and then he ran right back into Ty Howell. Philliman, he'll pick up a couple, but he's brought down with a big hit by Trey Fisher. Also in on the tackle is Trace Mabry. So it'll bring up 3rd and 5 for the Celina Bulldogs. Clock is moving. 2:30 remaining here in the first half. I look for Celina to go to the air. Big play for the Rough Rider defense right here. Silliman to the left of Cooper Jones, the quarterback. He's in the shotgun. Here comes the blitz by the Rough Riders. Jones is going to take it to the left, and he's going to pick up a first down and more.
Now, unfortunately, they ran away from the blitz, so St. Mary's brought everything they had towards the left side of their line, right side of Celina's line, and Celina had a quarterback keeper to their left side, so just a good call away from the blitz, and had tons of blockers out there in front of him.
Cooper Jones, the quarterback, very, very patient back there. Waits until he sees the opportunity present itself, and that's where he goes. So it'll be 1st and goal for Celina at the St. Mary's 10-yard line. Jones, he'll give it to Sullivan. He'll break a tackle, and he'll pick up about 3 on the play. He just stepped out of the tackle of Tanner Howell.
And that doesn't happen very often, Joe.
Nope. As we mentioned earlier, Tanner leads this team in tackles coming into tonight's contest with 89, followed by Blake Knorr, who has 78 and 7 sacks. Tanner Howell from his safety position has 3 sacks. So it'll be second down and 8. We'll give him a gain of 2 on the last play. Cooper Jones in the shotgun. Silliman to his right, man in motion. He's going to throw the football. He's going to loft it in the end zone, and it's overthrown and out of the back of the end zone. So the pass falls incomplete.
Now, I think Dylan Trogdon had a little bit more contact on that receiver that time. So, they do have the subjectivity that they can say if it's not really close, maybe we're not going to make a call if the pass isn't close. So, but I certainly saw more contact there than before when they did call a pass interference.
So it'll be 3rd down and 3rd and goal at the 8-yard line of St. Mary's. 3 receivers split wide to the right, 2 to the left. Cooper Jones. And he's going to be brought down for a loss. Good job there by the St. Mary's defense. Blake Knorr, Trey Fisher, and Lucas Walter. And it's going to be a loss of a couple yards on the play.
Great job by Lucas Walter shedding his block there. And Trey Fisher coming through there. Really bottled him up.
Well, if Celina wants to get this in the end zone, they better hurry because it's 27 seconds and counting. Yeah, I'm not so sure about this one. There's no sense of urgency here whatsoever. Clock is ticking. It's 4th down and goal at the Rough Rider 11-yard line.
I think they're going to let it go down so that they only have one play.
Try a field goal, maybe? No, timeout Celina. So what the score?
Where is that TSC bill? How can I pay it if I can't find it?
You don't need the bill. You can pay it online at telcirco.com.
Wasn't there a special this month?
Yes, we got it from TSC's Facebook page.
I know I've got the announcement for the club here somewhere.
I just sent it to TSC to air on Channel 2. With telcirco.com, Facebook, Channel 2, and their newsletter, TSC makes it easy to stay connected.
Now, if they could just help me clean up my desk.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
All righty, back at Bulldog Stadium, Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. 6.3 seconds remaining here in the first half. 21-6, Rough Riders lead on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. It's 4th and goal at the 11-yard line. So Celina has elected to run a play. We'll see what Brennan Bader is called for the Celina offense.
They need to watch out for the screen.
They're going to loft it into the end zone, and it is out of bounds. It is out of bounds. It was caught, but I think it was out of bounds. And that's going to end the first half here at Bulldog Stadium in Celina. With the score, the St. Mary's Rough Riders 21, the Celina Senior Bulldogs 6 from Bulldog Stadium. We'll take this break. We'll come back with our halftime right after this.
Even though the music on the patio has come to an end, Guarneri's would like to thank everyone for joining them on the patio on Friday nights. Though the music has ended, stop in and try their signature Big Ralph sub, pizza, or calzone. Guarneri's on Spring Street in St. Mary's. Give them a call at 419-394-2244. Vogel's Bake Shop, making thousands of fresh donuts daily. Open 7 days a week with stores in St. Mary's, Celina, and Walpock. Also now found in Wagner's IGA in New Bremen, Minster, and Fort Laramie.
If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, your job is made easy with Scott Ross Realty. Contact one of their hardworking, well-trained agents today at 419-305-4373 for all of your home buying and selling needs. Scott Ross Realty, wishing all Rough Rider sports good luck.
And tonight's halftime is being brought to you by Hewer Renovating. If you're looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer, he's your go-to man. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Improve your investment by giving Hewer Renovating a call at 419-394-8643. Back at Bulldogs Stadium, Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. Well, for the next 19 minutes and 30 seconds, we'll try to entertain you with facts and figures and fun thoughts throughout the halftime. Rough Riders played pretty good in the first half. There were some moments that they defense kind of bent, so to speak, but they never broke. The Rider offense put up 21 points in the first half. I'll tell you what, we saw them in the first two series, as we mentioned earlier in the contest. First two series, they basically run tackle to tackle. And then they finally started to open things up, and they threw a 31-yard touchdown pass to Ty Howell from Kurt Bump that got the Rough Riders on the board, and the point after touchdown was good. And the Rough Riders led 7-0. And then Aiden Hinkle got in the scoring column, as well as Tanner Howell on a nice long run in the second half. So the Rough Riders lead 21-6. Your thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, I think a great job by Doug Fry and the coaching staff of managing the emotion tonight. So we saw them come out early on and just stick to the bread and butter. Through the middle, some traps, some dives. Defensively, just kind of hunkered down, didn't try to do anything too special with blitzes. We saw them kind of staying back, pressing Celina, but really letting the talent of their defensive line do a lot of the work. Offensively, we saw them open it up then. So once sort of maybe the nerves and the adrenaline has worn off, and wore off from Celina too, we didn't see quite as much effort in the third and fourth series. We saw that St. Mary's tried to take advantage of that by going to the outside, saying, all right, you're not quite keeping up with us as well. We're going to start taking it around the side. Also, I think what they saw was that Celina was sitting heavily towards the inside, trying to make sure that they took away any traps, any dives. I talked about before, Walpock really ran off tackle, ran inside pretty well against them. So they were probably trying to fix that from last week, and I think they did. But really liked that call and also the execution by Kurt Bupp on offensively for St. Mary's on that pass play. Again, we talked about, you talked about the difference in this team being Kurt Bupp at quarterback, and just made a great decision there. A lot of trust between him and Ty Howe that he knows if he puts it up there in front of him, Ty Howe can go get it, and didn't have to worry about, it wasn't wide open. He had a defender on him, but wasn't worried about throwing it up there. Knew that Ty Howe could get it without putting too much of a risk on it, which is what we talked about. The strength of Kurt Bupp is doesn't make mistakes.
Absolutely. Well, while I take a break, I want you to see if you can find any scores around the Western Buckeye League.
Absolutely, Joe.
St. Mary's Memorial All-Brass Marching Band entertaining this crowd here at Bulldogs Stadium in Celina. In case you just joined us, we are at halftime at Bulldogs Stadium with the score on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. It's the St. Mary's Rough Riders 21 and the Celina Senior Bulldogs 6. We'll take this break. We'll come right back right after this. If you're looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer, he's your go-to man. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Improve your investment by giving Hewer Renovating a call at 419-394-8643.
Joe, I got some of the scores from the WBL tonight. We'll start down here. It says first quarter. It just may be somebody being slow about updating the website here, but Shawnee Indians are up on Elida in the first quarter, 20-3. Could also just be a lot of passing and a lot of slow game there. We have the Wapakoneta Redskins up on the Defiance Bulldogs, 28-0. That'll be St. Mary's' opponent next week, so better get the third and fourth string ready for next week. Can't look past anybody, but we can.
Absolutely.
So.
That's right.
Of course, we have our game here, 21-6, St. Mary's over the Celina Bulldogs. A pretty close game in Van Wert. Van Wert is beating Bath at half, 14-7. Good to see both of those, that the Bath Wildcats and the Van Wert Cougars are still playing hard at this time in the season.
Absolutely.
Both really had, promising teams, I think, and put some good effort into their game. And then the game that we've all been looking forward to, at halftime, the Ottawa Glandorf Titans are up on the Kenton Wildcats, 6-0. And
that's a shocker to me.
That's shocking,
especially at Kenton.
Right.
And with the passing offense that the Kenton Wildcats brings in at home against the OG Titans, obviously the OG Titans are playing. Are really sending a statement as to why they are undefeated and lead the Western Buckeye League.
You wonder if their quarterback got hurt, or, it's unheard of for Kenton to have 0 points at halftime this season.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, hopefully Zach will have some statistics to pass along to you. We'll do that as our halftime show continues from Bulldog Stadium in Celina. We're on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. It's the Rough Riders 21 and the Celina Senior Bulldogs 6. Back right after this.
St. Mary's Foundry is a global leader in manufacturing complex iron castings. Our skilled workforce takes pride in producing the highest quality iron castings, weighing up to 60,000 pounds. St. Mary's Foundry wants to take this opportunity to give a big shout out to all our local teams, wishing them a safe and extraordinary season. And speaking of great teams, St. Mary's Foundry would like to thank its very own team of hardworking employees for their loyalty and dedication. If you're looking for rewarding challenges and first-string wages and benefits, check us out at stmfoundry.com or on hometownopportunities.com. St. Mary's Foundry, where iron and ingenuity meet. If you're looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer is your go-to man. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Improve your investment by giving Hewer Renovating a call at 419-394-8643.
Auglaize Equipment Rental is your source for all your equipment needs. Whether you're a contractor or a homeowner with a project, we can help get the job done more efficiently. Check us out at 1900 Celina Road or auglaizeequipmentrental.com or just call 419-394-7883. Auglaize Equipment Rental.
All righty, we're back at halftime here at Bulldogs Stadium, and I believe Zach has the statistics in the first half. Here's Zach.
Yeah, let's look at the stats here, Joe. First downs for St. Mary's, 8. For Celina, 10. Total offensive yards for St. Mary's, 146 to Celina's 133. St. Mary's passing 1 for 1 with 1 touchdown. It's a pretty good statistical night there. For Celina, 5 for 8. No interceptions, no touchdowns. Passing net yards for St. Mary's, 31 yards on that touchdown pass, 49 total for Celina. Rushing attempts, 22 for St. Mary's for 115 yards, 21 rushing attempts for Celina for 84 yards, and a big part of the reason why the score is 21-6. St. Mary's 0 fumbles, 0 lost. Celina 1 fumble, 1 loss. That fumble, of course, was on Celina's own 25-yard line, set up an easy score on a sweep from Ty Howe. Penalties for St. Mary's, much improved after the past few weeks. 2 penalties for 30 yards. Celina, 3 penalties for 19 yards. St. Mary's is 2 for 4 on third down conversions. Celina is 2 for 5. 1 punt for St. Mary's for 38 yards. 1 punt from Celina for 36 yards. The average drive starting position for St. Mary's, we talk about this every week. St. Mary's just has been owning the average starting drive against their opponents, which is why we see lower stats but higher scores. For St. Mary's, their average drive start is 48.5 yard line.
Wow.
Salina's average drive start is the 22-yard line. So almost 30 yards that St. Mary's is just starting their drives, not having to get first downs, not having to, you're pretty much, if you're starting at the 48-yard line, you're putting yourself almost in 4th down territory immediately with 1 or 2 first downs. Time of possession, St. Mary's 8 minutes and 31, Celina 15 minutes and 29 seconds. So kind of similar to the last couple weeks where we just see St. Mary's having real short fields, taking advantage of it, and putting some scores up while sort of playing that bend don't break defense where they're letting Celina get some yardage, letting them get some time of possession, but they're holding them when it counts towards the end of it. I want to look at some of the individual leaders. For Celina, Cooper Jones has 5 pass completions on 8 attempts for 49 yards. His longest pass was 19 yards. For rushing, Cooper Jones has 10 rushes for 51 yards, his longest being 14 yards, and of course he had that touchdown there on that QB sneak. Jackson Silliman has 10 rushes for 33 yards. A great job so far on the St. Mary's defense of bottling those two up and keeping them contained. Jackson Silliman's longest rush was 6 yards. Receiving for Celina, not too much. 2 catches. Brandon Stogler, there we go. Last name was a little tough to see there. Brandon Stogler, 2 catches for 7 yards. Max Toby, 1 catch thrown to 2 times for 19 yards. And Jackson Silliman, 1 catch for 17 yards. Looking at the St. Mary's individual stats, Kurt Bupp, of course, one attempt, 1 completion for 31 yards and a touchdown. For rushing, Ty Howe, 8 rushes for 59 yards, as long as being 25 yards with a touchdown. Ethan Wedding, 5 rushes for 10 yards. Dylan Troglin, 4 rushes for 35 yards. Aiden Hinkle, 4 rushes for 9 yards. Kurt Bupp, 1 rush for 1 yard on the QB sneak. And receiving, Ty Howe, thrown to once for 31 yards on that touchdown. So not a ton of stats, but some good job on the Rough Riders for taking advantage of the position that they're put in and converting it, on that long touchdown throw.
And it's very similar to last week, Zach, is that, the Rough Riders appear to be dominating the first half. Obviously, when you look at the score on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, 21-6, but yet the statistics are, they're either just a little bit ahead of the opponent or they're just below the opponent, but apparently they're making their time count on the field.
Yeah, and it's really tough to add a lot of yards to your drive when Celina's kicking it to the 40-yard line.
That's true.
So, it's one of the reasons why the St. Mary's has started drives so far up is Celina's pretty much kind of kicking an onside kick type of squib kick. It's not even your traditional squib kick down to the 30 or down to the 20-yard line on the ground. It's basically an onside kick, just barely going 10 yards, but not really trying an onside kick, but just trying to squib it over to Carson Fishball, and giving the Riders a short field there.
And absolutely, and normally you would see Carson Fishbach in that line on the kickoff return back, probably sitting about the 25-yard line or 20. But tonight he's sitting about the 40-yard line, and between I'd say the 40 to 35-yard line. So they've brought all their middle people up, knowing that the Celina kickoff team is not going to kick to the 3 deep backs for the Rough Riders.
Yeah, great job by the St. Mary's coaching staff of recognizing that. They kind of came out like that in that formation. They weren't surprised at all by Celina, and they were ready for it when it came. So credit to them for being ready for it, not letting anything slip by them.
Well, we're going to take another quick break. We'll come back. We'll have more as our halftime continues here from Bulldog Stadium in Celina right after this.
Varsity Lanes, home of the Rough Riders 2018-19 Boys and Girls State Bowling Champions. Striking up delicious food, 32 taps, Queen of Hearts, and nightly food and drink specials with a great family atmosphere. Carry out is available. Stop in and see us after the game. Go Riders!
And I think, Zach, before we move on any further, I think what we need to do is we need to give a shout out to all of our sponsors who bring all of our programs to the viewers and listeners in Rider Nation Station country. So without these sponsors, we wouldn't be able to be here. We wouldn't be able to bring you the video on Monday on TSC. Of course, we wouldn't be able to bring you the Doug Fry Show or Rules of the Game. So we'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, our game sponsors is Albert Sporting Goods, Allways Equipment Rental, Dave Wabacher, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Guarneri's Pizzeria, Unique Awards and Signs, Varsity Lanes, Vogel's Bake Shop. The Doug Fry Show sponsors are Glass Derringer Investment Management, Scott Ross Realty, and Vogel's Bake Shop.
And our Rules of the Game and Big Ralph Rider replay sponsor is Guarneri's Pizzeria. And our exclusive sponsors, the St. Mary's Foundry sponsors our scoreboard each and every game. You are renovating our halftime show, and Laura Yelton brings in, sponsors the kickoff and kickoff return, and also Rules of the Game for Guarneri's Pizzeria as well. So I'll tell you what, if you missed it last night, we went live. Rider Nation Station was live at Guarneri's Pizzeria with Zach and Mark Sisko with the Rules of the Game, and had a nice little crowd over at the pub, and had some interesting questions tossed around by some former coaches and longtime Rider fans, and it was just a neat environment. And I want to remind you that Rider Nation Station and Rules of the Game will be back at Guarneri's Pizzeria and Pub next Thursday night for another edition of Rules of the Game. So if you get an opportunity, stop in. Around 7:30 is airtime, but come on in, grab yourself an adult beverage and some pizza and Italian food. Great food there at Guarneri's. We appreciate them riding along with us this year, and Rider Nation Station bringing you Rough Rider football. And as I said, they start at 7:30 roughly at Guarneri's next Thursday. So stop in, bring a question or two, enjoy the time together, and just fellowship with one another. It's a great atmosphere.
I tell you what, Joe, they had some great pasta last night.
Did you have pasta?
Yeah. Our family had some. We had some lasagna and some cannoli and some cannellini, and they had some great pasta there. Did you have a good time?
I did have a good time. It was good.
We had a great crowd. It was a little loud crowd in there. we had to ask them to just keep it down a little bit so everybody could hear us at home. But I'm excited to come back there next Thursday at 7:30 at Guarneri's.
Absolutely.
Thank you again to Guarneri's Pub for being a wonderful host. Thanks to everybody that came out there. And thank you to Rich Spencer for having everything set up, being able to broadcast live from Guarneri's Pizzeria.
And I'll tell you what, absolutely. And we got to give Rich and his crew, Dave Weilbacher, Doug Spencer was here earlier. The camera crew was here. I'm not really sure who's on the camera crew tonight, but I'll tell you what, they've done a fantastic job. And they brought the trailer up. It's hooked up behind us, and they were able to get us on the air. And
yeah.
I'll tell you what, Rich puts a lot of time into this.
I know we have Sam Huber on the camera, Dex Yelton, Logan Yelton, doing a great job tonight. This is not an easy field to. This is not an easy field to videotape. It's a small
Absolutely
area.
Not. I don't know. I think I got word in my ear from somebody we might have missed.
John Boyd directing.
Who?
John Boyd.
John Boyd is directing. Well, that's cool. Really?
We're told he's a former Kenton guy, so thank you for converting him to a Rough Rider.
Well, as we were sitting here in on our broadcast location, of course, we're outside the press box. We're underneath. And we just saw Ty Slosser walk up into the press box. Of course, I think he was on crutches. So keep in mind he went out at the OG game earlier in the season with a season-ending knee injury. And I'm sure maybe they've done some surgery on him. And I'll tell you what, but he's kind of hung in there. And he's a story in itself. I mean, he as a senior could have walked away and not done anything. But he's down in there, and he's helping these young players like Ross Henshin and Aiden Hinkle at the fullback spot, and he's a big part of this offense as well.
Yeah, I tell you what, I saw on Facebook today that the band and players went around to all the elementaries, including Holy Rosary, but Ty Howe was out there with them. He was kind of leading it. So, and that's what you want. That's what leaders do. Whether he can play or not, he's going to still lead this team on or off the field, and he's taking advantage of that now, and that'll really pay dividends for him in his life.
Absolutely.
Beyond the football field.
Absolutely.
That's one of the things that being on sports teams in high school does is you realize when you go out to those elementaries and you wear that football jersey to the elementary that you're a role model that these kids are looking at. And as a 16, 17, 18-year-old, sometimes that's the first time that you've ever felt that before in your life.
Absolutely.
And it's certainly something that you start thinking a little bit when you're making decisions out there in the public, that you make better decisions when you know that the elementary kids are looking up for you. So they got a great role model to look up to with Ty Howe there. Really glad to see that he's sticking around with the team.
And I like the fact that Coach Fry sends his players out into the elementary schools, and I think the kids look forward to it. They always ask teachers, who's coming this week, who's coming into our room this week, and as you said, it's just a positive influence when these players get an opportunity to come down to the younger grades.
Yeah, Coach Fry's always had that kind of holistic look at his players. I remember when he came back to the program 5 years ago, he sent some players out doing yard work, introducing themselves around town,
Absolutely.
Earning money actually so that they could buy some better pads for the team. So he's always community minded like that, and more than that, he's always makes it a priority to build his players into young men.
Absolutely.
On and off the field.
Absolutely. Because you know what, and I don't know, I think it's not a high percentage, maybe 1% of all these kids that are playing high school football, 1% will play at the next level.
Right.
So it's good character building, which will sustain you and carry you on through life.
And realistically, if they're playing on the next level, the majority of these type of players are playing D3, maybe D2 if they're lucky. So they're not making careers out of football. They're gonna have careers in other areas. Almost 100% of them will.
I'm under the understanding that Blake Knorr has a few D1 schools looking at him, but it's always an interesting thing. And Coach Fry and I talked about it earlier in the year on the Doug Fry Show, the recruiting process of a high school athlete from a college. So it's very interesting. If you get an opportunity, go back and check it out. Well, we're getting ready to start the second half here at Bulldog Stadium. The Celina Bulldogs will receive here to start the second half, and this kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Laura Yelton. Be a legend. Ensure your life.
I tell you what, if Celina could have converted that last play there of scrimmage, that 4th and 11, 4th and goal. They'd be coming out of here with maybe 12 or 14 points or 13 points, and receiving the ball here with a chance to go down and tie it up or come close. So
Absolutely.
That was a huge play at the end of the half for Celina and the Rough Riders.
Eric Gallimore. Sage Houts is back to receive the kickoff for the Celina Senior Bulldogs. Brandon Bowers will do the kicking for St. Mary's. We're waiting for the clock to run down. Both teams are on the field. They're set for second half action. Just waiting for the clock to wind down. Now, in all honesty, it shows we got 44 seconds remaining in the half. Why don't they just stop it? They did.
Okay.
Well, they must have read my mind, or what little there is of it.
Joe, I'm looking around the crowd tonight. We have a packed house of St. Mary's fans and nearly full side on Celina. So good to see that the records don't matter for the fans either. This is a big rivalry, and everybody's staying past halftime.
Here's the kick by Bowers, and it's going to be taken by Gallimore inside the 5. He's going to go to the right, and he'll bring the football out, and he'll be tackled by the Rough Riders at about the 21-yard line, I believe, was where they're going to mark it.
Ross Henson did a great job of shedding the blocker and getting into him there. Didn't let Gallimore eke out at all.
Again, good kick, good high kick by Bowers, allowing his special teams unit to get down there to make the play on Gallimore. So the Celina Bulldogs will set up shop 1st and 10 at their own 21-yard line. Second half just underway from Bulldog Stadium in Celina. Joe Hurlbert, Zach Farrell. Cooper Jones on the keeper. He'll take it to the right side where he'll gain about 3 yards on the play. We'll call it about 2nd down and 7.
Something I look
for. A gain of 4.
Something I look for here from Celina is on that last drive, they had a pace that was significant. They were not taking long in the huddle. They were coming right up to the ball, trying to run it quick, trying to keep St. Mary's on their heels. If they're going to get back in this, they need to keep doing that.
2 receivers to the left. Sullivan behind Cooper. Cooper's going to throw the football. He's going to look to go deep. And Froglin is going to be called for a pass interference play. Boy, and I'll tell you what, whether this is a pass interference or not, I'll tell you this. Froglin is in his face.
Yeah.
It's just good flat-out coverage. He wasn't beat deep. He was right with him.
Yeah, we talked about this similar on rules of the game that there is no face guarding is okay in high school. You don't have to turn around. It's okay to be in the offensive player's face like that. You can't make contact though. There was a little bit of contact there at the end. I think if he would have kept a little bit further from him, it would have been okay.
Coach Fry chewing on the official's ear on this side of the field.
Yeah.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Celina at their own 40-yard line. Cooper Jones, the quarterback, Sullivan behind him. He's going to step and he's going to throw the football. He's going to throw it out to, I believe it's going to be Toby. Max Toby, the tight end.
That was a great job by Cooper Jones getting rid of the ball. He had Trey Fisher right in his face right now. We can see here on the replay, Trey Fisher coming off of the left side of the offensive line, unblocked. And took Cooper Jones out right after the ball was released.
So we'll call it 2nd down and 5. Ball at the 44-yard line of Celina. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Celina. Cooper Jones is going to keep it himself, and he is going to be brought down by Lucas Walter. Boy, Lucas reached the big paw out there and just pulled Cooper Jones down for a loss on the play.
Well, I hate to say it, but it's about time that we're able to stop him in the backfield because he slid out about everything tonight. Great job by Lucas Walter getting in there.
So a loss of about 3 on the play. We'll call it 3rd down and 8 at the Celina 42-yard line. 3 receivers to the left for Celina. Jones, 2-step drop. He'll throw it over the middle, and it's a hook and ladder. And mercy, my!
Wow.
What a hit!
Oh, my.
Oh, I got to see this one again.
That can happen sometimes on these hook and ladders. You leave that running back wide open there.
And it's going to be 4th and short for Celina. But I'll tell you what.
Wow.
Tanner Howe and Fishbach put a smackdown on that receiver. There's a 2-step drop and a pass is completed over the middle.
That's
to Stogler. Good play by defense by Carson Fishbach, but just a quick 2-step drop by Jones, and now we're kind of in a hurry-up type of an offense. There's some urgency right now for Celina. Jones on the carry. He'll take it to the right side where he's brought down by the entire defensive line for St. Mary's.
You know, that was a 4th and 1 or a 4th and short call there. I think everybody in this place thought that Jones was going to run it. He just threw a quick pass out there to the receiver. That's a pretty gutsy call there by Celina coaches.
It'll be 2nd down and 9. 9-10 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Colin Harris wide to the left. Silliman behind Cooper Jones in the shotgun. He drops straight back. He's going to loft it out there, and the pass is caught by Stogler. And it'll be a 1st down for Celina. We'll give him a gain of about 10 on the play. So it'll be a 1st down.
Well, Celina fans and coach have wanted a late hit there, but the officials aren't blowing the whistle.
No, they're not.
So I can't blame St. Mary's players for continuing to push the pile backwards when the whistle's not blown.
So another 1st down for Celina. We'll give them the ball at the St. Mary's 33-yard line, 1st and 10. Celina has taken the opening kickoff here in the 2nd half and marched it to the Rough Riders 33. Silliman on the carry, and he is brought down by Tanner Howe, along with Lucas Walter and Blake Knorr, and also Hunter Fultz in on the tackle for the St. Mary's Rough Riders.
We can feel the energy in the stadium pick up. You know that Celina thinks that they really need to score here to keep this game within reach.
So we'll give him a gain of about 2. We'll call it 2nd down and 8 from our vantage point. Jones is going to sweep it. He's got blockers in front. He's going to take it all the way to the outside, gets the corner, and then he's shoved out of bounds. And now we're going to get another flag on the play. We'll see what this is all about, but good yardage picked up by Cooper Jones. This might go against the Celina Bulldogs. They're marching their way back, so it's going to be a penalty against Celina, probably a block in the back.
I think it was a hold there.
A hold.
You can see in that replay that Dylan Troglin was completely held. He was twisting around.
You're absolutely right. Holding call on the Celina Bulldogs. Will march the ball back. And they'll have the football, 2nd down, and we'll call it 10 at the original 33-yard line. Cooper Jones by himself in the backfield. Ball's loose on the field. He picks it up, and he's going to run to the right. And Cooper Jones picking up good yardage, good blocking downfield. The ball is loose, but it'll go out of bounds.
Almost disaster by with Cooper Jones and a low snap. Bounced off of his knee, but when he picked it up, he had the whole right side of the field wide open.
Absolutely. And give credit to the offensive receivers. Good blocking downfield on the defensive backs of St. Mary's. So they were able to pick up a 1st down, a big 1st down. They gave him about 17 yards on the carry. So it'll be 1st and 10 at the St. Mary's 15-yard line. So the Bulldogs knocking on the door here in the 2nd half. Cooper Jones, he'll drop back. Pass is incomplete. Good pressure by the Rough Riders. But I'll tell you what, Cooper Jones had the presence of mind to get rid of that one because he had about 3 Rough Riders breathing down his neck. And here they come. Brandon Paul was on it. He almost blocked the pass.
Yeah, we see Celina coming out with a double tight end formation here as in the red zone. Expecting to see him run a little bit, but they're looking to pass it there.
7:43 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard.
They're still out of the shotgun now.
Second down and 10. Ball's at the St. Mary's 15-yard line. We got a player in motion. Jones is going to loft one to the end zone. It falls incomplete. Good coverage there by Ty Howell. Can't see who the pass was intended to. I think it might have been Stogler. But it'll bring up third down and 10 for Celina.
Yeah, I think it was number 4, Stogler.
Third down and 10. Ball at the St. Mary's 15-yard line. Silliman beside Jones in the backfield, out of the shotgun. He'll give it to Silliman. He's going to sweep the right side, and he's knocked out of bounds. Good pursuit there by Blake Kennord, Tanner Howell.
That brings up a huge 4th and 7 or 4th and 8.
Good job by the Rough Rider defense. Big decision now by Brennan Bader and his Celina Bulldogs ball club. Fourth down, they're going to call it 6 to go. The ball is at the 11-yard line. Big defensive play for the Rough Riders right here. Silliman to the right side of Cooper Jones in the gun. Silliman in motion to the left. Here comes the Rough Rider defense. And they're going to, he eludes it. And he's going to be knocked out of bounds by Trey Fisher.
Great job that time by the Rough Rider defense of keeping containment. That was a very similar play to the one we saw earlier where he was able to come out of that and scramble for 15 yards. This time, not so lucky. Great job of staying around him. Trey Fisher, that time, didn't get sucked up inside, stayed out in front, kept him in front of him, and pushed him out of bounds.
Absolutely.
Lucas Water coming in from the backside, running them down too.
So the Rough Riders will take possession of the football at the 7:21 mark on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. They have the football and the lead, 21-6. So it's that bend but break defense that held Celina on that particular possession. Here comes Troglin sweeping to the right side. He'll get little to no gain on the play.
They tried to run that sweep to the short side of the field and that we started out with, but Celina was ready for it that time, so they must have made some adjustments at halftime. See if St. Mary's decides to try back up the middle then.
Or go to the wide side of the field.
Right.
As a matter of fact, they're going to give him a loss of 1 on the play. They're going to call it second down and 11 at the St. Mary's 15-yard line. Kurt Bupp under center. There goes Ty Howell on the counter back. We'll give him a gain of about 6 on the play.
I think St. Mary's sensed that they were going to be flowing pretty hard on the sweep, so they said, oh, we'll run a counter the other way.
So it'll bring up third down and a long 5 for the Rough Riders. Clock is ticking, 6:17 remaining here in the third quarter. Kurt Bupp under center. He'll turn, he'll fake, he'll roll to his right. He's got Ty Howell down there, and he just overthrows him.
Oh.
Ty Howell was open. He had his defender beat. But he overthrows him, and it'll bring up fourth down, and the Rough Riders will be sending in Brandon Bowers to punt.
And we saw there in the replay, just hit his tip of his fingers there too.
He brings it down about a foot, and he's got it.
Yep. I think we may see that pass play come up again this game, Joe.
Nice punt by Bowers. The ball's going to hit. It's going to take a St. Mary's bounce, and it's going to roll all the way down inside the 30-yard line, and the Rough Riders will down it at about the 26 of Celina. So Brandon Bowers with a good punt. Bowers comes in averaging 32 yards a punt. He probably added a little bit to his average on that particular punt.
Yep.
Got a favorable roll. So Celina will have the ball first and 10. Of course, they chewed up a lot of the clock here in the third quarter, but failed to get any points on the scoreboard. The Rough Riders, on the other hand, about a 3 and out.
Yeah, and really didn't need that. You know, if anything, you wanted to see them chew up more of the clock there.
Absolutely. All righty, Cooper Jones in the shotgun. Silliman behind him. He'll give the ball. He'll fake on the Silliman. A nice pass out here, and it's caught.
Number 5, it looks like.
Quinn Andrew on the reception for Celina, and it'll be a first down. So he faked the ball to Silliman. I think a lot of the defensive line converged on him. He just pulled it out and stood up and threw it out to Andrew. So first down for Celina on their own 39-yard line. Jones. Quick step. He'll throw it out to number 14.
I think that's Max Toby.
Yep, Max Toby, the tight end, made the reception, but immediately was stuffed by the Rough Rider defense, and it's actually a loss of 1 on the play.
Good closing speed there by Lucas Water. Seen a lot of Lucas Water this second half in the backfield, running Cooper Jones down, making some good plays down the field.
Jones calls the signals. He'll step up, he'll swing it out, and the pass is complete. Out there to number 11, Eric Gallimore. He eludes a tackler, but then is pushed out of bounds, and that's another loss on the play for Celina.
I think it was actually number 4, Joe, Stogler.
Yep, Stogler, you're right.
They're a little tough to see these numbers, though.
Going to bring up third down and a long 14. The ball setting at the Celina 35-yard line. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Celina. He'll stand a man in motion. He'll fake, he'll go back, he's looking deep. And the pass is overthrown. Pass was intended for Colin Harris, but it was overthrown. Good coverage there by Dylan Trogling. So the Celina Senior Bulldogs will be forced to punt the football.
You can tell they're targeting Dylan Trogling tonight on a lot of these deep balls. I don't know if what they're seeing exactly. It may just be that he's a little bit shorter than Ty Howell, and they think they can get some reach on him. But as I said earlier, he's one of the fastest players in St. Mary's. So
Cooper Jones gets the punt off, and then you're going to let it hit. And it'll take a short Celina roll, and it's stopped there by the Celina special teams. Number 13 down on the play for the Celina Bulldogs, and the Rough Riders will take over, 1st and 10. And we'll call it their own 33-yard line. So we'll see if the Rough Riders can put a little bit more of a drive together, chew up some of that clock, as the clock is at 4:59 here in the third quarter.
yeah, you know, if you're not going to score, at least you need to eat up some clock here with a 21-6 lead, because if you don't eat up enough clock and Celina scores again, it becomes a completely different game here if it's 21-12, 13, or 14.
Aiden Hinkle was the ball carrier on the last play. We'll give him a gain of about 4 on the play. He comes up a little gimpy, so we'll see if he's able to play through this.
I think we might see that pass again here, Joe.
Howell in the wing. He'll turn and he'll give the ball to Hinkle. He'll go nowhere. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a loss on the play of about 1, so, or no gain. They'll give it no gain.
Now, Celina defense, give them credit. They've done a much better job this second half of stepping up and stopping the Rough Riders. Rough Riders haven't been able to run up the middle, haven't been able to run outside.
Yep. 3rd down and 5 for the Rough Riders. The ball at their own 38-yard line. Parks will go wide to the left. We've got whistles on the field. We've got a timeout called by the Rough Riders. So we'll take this quick break with 3:34 remaining here in the third quarter. It's the St. Mary's Rough Riders 21. The Celina Bulldogs 6 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Back after this.
Unique Awards and Signs, here to take care of your signage, graphic award, and gift customization needs. From banners for your graduate or corporate sponsors to awards recognizing those dedicated employees or champion sport teams. Stop in at 1865 Celina Road or call us at 419-394-1612.
All righty, Back to Bulldog Stadium. Joe Hurlbert, Zach Farrell, Rider Nation Station. Riders lead 21-6 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Ethan Wedding on the carry, but he's going to get a gain of about 1. And it'll bring up another 4th down situation for St. Mary's, and this will be an obviously punting situation.
And I think St. Mary's tried to catch him with a little trickery there. Don't know if it was a designed pass. It doesn't look like it. Ethan Wedding never pulled the ball up, but didn't really catch Celina surprised with the reverse at all.
Back to receive the punt for Celina is number 88. And the ball's loose on the field. The Rough Riders diving after it. It'll be blown dead.
It took a bad St. Mary's bounce. Bounced back about 10, 15 yards there.
So not really a good punt. As you said, it took a Celina bounce. And so they will set up shop 1st and 10 at their own 39-yard line.
Saw in the replay, actually one of the St. Mary's guys batted it back, so wasn't quite as bad of a bounce as I thought. Because it is dead wherever the St. Mary's player touches it.
3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Cooper goes on the field, and it's picked up. Picked up by Ty Howell. He's turned inside the 20, and it's going to score. Well, the Rough Rider defense knocked the ball out of Tanner Jones, or excuse me, out of Cooper Jones' hand. There's Tanner Howell, and he picks it up and takes it to the house. So the defense puts 1 on the scoreboard for the Rough Riders.
Lucas Water got into the backfield, knocked the ball right out of Cooper Jones' hand. And Tanner Howell was right place, right time. Ball bounces right into Tanner Howell's hands. And Tanner Howell looked a little bit like his brother there, Ty. When he got the ball, there was no tackling him.
I'm sure they'll have a little chit-chat tonight about that one.
That's right.
So, point after touchdown was good by Brandon Bowers. And so with the score, St. Mary's 28, the Celina Bulldogs 6, with 2:46 remaining here in the 3rd quarter on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Zach and I will take a break. We'll come back with more right after this.
Here to help make life go right is your local Good Neighbor State Farm agent, Laura Yelton, with 30 years experience. Visit Laura and her team located in downtown St. Mary's for your auto, home, banking, and life insurance needs. Be a legend. Insure your life.
This Rough Rider kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Laura Yelton. Be a legend. Insure your life.
Well, I think Tanner Howell, he couldn't have Ty, his brother, score 2 touchdowns and him not get on the board. So
it's a short kick. And good coverage by the Rough Rider special teams play as number 52 is down on the tackle for St. Mary's.
Yeah, it looks like number 43 got in there as well.
Brandon Paul and number 52. We'll get him a little bit of recognition, Stash Patterson. So good job by those 2 special teams players. Have the Celina Bulldogs will take possession now with 2:40 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. 1st down and 10 at their own 28-yard line. Cooper Jones will give the ball to Jackson Silliman. And the Rough Rider defense stops him up front. I want to remind everybody that they can watch tonight's replay of this contest on TSC channels 702 and 13.1 starting on Monday morning around 10 a.m. Second down and 8, ball at the 30. Cooper Jones in the shotgun. 2 receivers left, 2 right. He stands up, he's looking for a receiver on a go route. And Dylan Froglin was there step for step with Colin Harris, the intended receiver for Celina.
Yep, targeting that side of the field again. I don't know if they're targeting Dylan Froglin or if that's just more comfortable for Cooper Jones to throw to that side.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. They should have had this scouted out and know that Dylan Crogland is one of the fastest kids on the team.
Right.
And I don't think you're going to beat him deep. If you do, it'll be a rarity. Cooper Jones right over the middle, passes batted in the air and picked off by Ethan Wedding. Passes tipped and picked off by Ethan Wedding, and the Rough Riders are back in business at the Celina Bulldogs 39-yard line.
Jackson Silliman motioned out of the backfield, came across the middle, and actually it was number 14.
That was Toby.
Max Toby.
Pass was intended for their tight end. And the Rough Riders are back in business. First and 10 at the Celina 39. Ty Howell will sweep to the right. He's got a block by Wedding. He does a little shake and bake move. And he hustles on down and gets the ball inside the 30, inside the 25. Give him a gain of about 14 on the play.
We've seen some energy coming alive.
Absolutely. 1:37 remaining here in the third quarter. Don't forget, between the third and fourth quarter, we'll have our Big Ralph Rider radio replay.
Well, that's one of the benefits of having some of the offensive players in your defensive backfield. They're able to intercept balls like that by Ethan Wedding.
Howell take the ball from Kurt Bupp, and he'll go toward the left side of the offensive line. He'll pick up good yardage. Good blocking at the point of attack by Gavin Ward, Stash Patterson up front. Also Riley Swigert at center. Kurt Bupp gets the play from head coach Doug Fry, and he'll trot back into the huddle. Rough Riders come out full house backfield behind Kurt Bupp. Long count by the Rough Riders, and he'll give the ball to
29.
For Hunter Fraley. Hunter Fraley in the ball game at fullback for the Rough Riders.
I can tell you what they're doing here, Joe, is when they come out in that full house and they do a longer count, they're looking to see where Celina's lining up, and they're calling a play that tries to match up the best against that. So they take a little bit longer, and all the offensive linemen are listening there for what the play is, which usually it's a run from one side or the other.
Well, the Rough Riders are going to let the clock run out. So that's the end of the third quarter with the score on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. St. Mary's Rough Riders 28. The Celina Bulldogs 6. We'll be back with the fourth and final quarter right after this, but not before we hear our Big Ralph Rider replay, brought to you by Guarneri's on Spring Street, home of the signature Big Ralph sub, pizza, and calzone. Come try their thirst-quenching Rider Aid before, during, and after the game. It's Guarneri's. Give them a call at 419-394-2244. Our Big Ralph Rider replay. Hope you enjoy.
Line. Damon calls the signal. Long count at the line. Damon turns, gives the ball. Shelby, first down and more. Breaks the tackle. 35, 30, 25, 20, 18-yard line. 18-yard line goes Scott Shelby. What a hole and a flag. We got a flag. I think we're going to get a late hit against the Celina Bulldogs. The flag was thrown over there at the 18-yard line. I think we're going to get a late hit. Personal foul against Celina.
St. Mary's Celina game years ago. As a matter of fact, he said Damon at quarterback.
Damon Goodwin.
Damon Goodwin. A lot of people don't know, or maybe not even realize, that Damon Goodwin, who later went on to play at the University of Dayton, had an outstanding basketball career there, was also the quarterback for the Rough Riders. All righty, fourth quarter underway. Kurt Bupp under center. Rough Riders in a full house backfield. Ball at the Celina 19-yard line. Aiden Hinkle. He's chugging forward and was able to break a tackle and pick up good yardage on the right side. So I believe it's going to be first down for the Rough Riders, and it is as they move the chains here at Bulldog Stadium. Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. Glad to have you along wherever you might be listening or watching later on Monday on TSC. Remember, subscribe to Rider Nation Station, and if you subscribe, and I got to remind people this, it does not cost you anything to subscribe.
Right.
Just subscribe, and you'll get notifications throughout the week as the various programs that Rider Nation Station brings. Kurt Bupp, he'll turn, he'll give it to Hinkle, left side. Hinkle is close to, he's close to the 5-yard line. Good job by the left side of the Rough Rider line. Again, Gavin Ward, Stace Patterson.
Rough Rider coaches are recognizing that out of this formation, they are leaving the left and right tackles completely uncovered. It's just leaving a huge hole right off tackle inside the tight end. And when you got Aiden Hinkle to fill that hole, it can you're going to get a few yards usually every time.
Well, we'll see if they run behind Blake Knorr on this play to the left. Bupp under center. He'll turn. They're going to go to the right side. Hinkle, and he's stopped there by the Celina defense. You picking up any other scores around the Western Buckeye Leg by chance?
Let me give it a look here.
Maybe we got an update on the Kenton OG score. Keep in mind, OG was defeating Kenton 6-0 the last we heard, and now it's 9-0.
9-0 OG in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Wapak over Defiance Big, 42-0. Shawnee over Elida, 35-9. And Van Werten Bath at halftime, 14-7. So that must have been just an early game.
Kurt Bupp, quarterback sneak from the 1. We'll see where they mark the football, and he's going to be short. No, I checked that. The ball. Oh, it's 3rd and 1 for the first down at the 4-yard line. So the Rough Riders have a.
Looks like a first.
Yeah, yep. they got a first down. So it'll be first down and goal. The ball is setting at about the 2-yard line. Rough Riders break the huddle. Kurt Bupp under center. Swigert, turn, and whoa, mercy. Good hit by the Celina defense on Hunter Fraley, who goes nowhere.
Yeah, St. Mary's tried to run a dive right up the middle, but the tackle couldn't quite get in front of the middle linebacker, and he was able to step up and make a big hit on Hunter Fraley.
So to bring up 2nd down and 3, we'll call it at the 3-yard line. 9:13 remaining here in the contest. Bupp, he'll turn, he'll give the ball to Ty Howe. He sweeps left and he puts his head down, lowers his shoulder. Touchdown, Rough Riders. Good camera work by our crew. And at the 9-minute mark, Ty Howe's 3-yard touchdown run makes it 34-6 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, with Brandon Bowers in to try the point after touchdown.
Yeah, I like that play call. You know, Celina's sitting on the inside run a lot, and you know Ty Howe's going to run it pretty hard, so you trust that he's not going to get taken down for a loss out there.
Well, you know what he said. This is exactly why he went into the end zone. He goes, little brother's not going to score. I'm not going to.
That's right.
The point after touchdown by Bowers is good. So with the score on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, the St. Mary's Rough Riders 35, the Celina Bulldogs 6, with 9 minutes remaining in this football contest. We'll take a break. We'll come right back right after this.
Do you find yourself faced with injustice or confronted with a legal matter that you need help resolving? If so, call attorney David Walbacher at 216-225-9181. That's attorney David Walbacher for all your legal needs.
All right, this kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Laura Yelton. Be a legend, insure your life. Colin Harris back to return the kick of Brandon Bowers, but it's picked up by number 5. That's Quinn Andrew, and he'll take it across the Celina 30-yard line, where he is brought down by the Rough Rider Special Teams unit, and the Bulldogs will set up shop 1st and 10 at their own 32-yard line. .8:44 remaining in the football contest. 35-6, Rough Riders on top. On the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. Glad to have you along on this Football Friday.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like our like our page, like us on Facebook.
Handoff straight up the gut by the Celina Bulldogs. The ball carrier was Silliman. We'll give him a gain of 2. We'll call it second down and 8 for Celina. We got 2 backs in the backfield besides Jones. Man in motion. He'll give the ball to Silliman. He'll go up the gut, and he's stopped by the Rough Rider defense. There's Paul, Lucas Walder, Tanner Howell, all in on the stop, but we'll give him a gain of about 5. We'll call it third down and 3. At the Celina Bulldogs 39-yard line, clock continues to run. Two receivers wide to the right. Excuse me, 3 wide to the right, 1 to the left. And it is Silliman, and he is stopped. Good job there by the Rough Rider defense.
Number 4 again, Lucas Water in the backfield. And Blake Knorr there to back him up.
And also Trace Mabry in there to yank him to the ground. So it'll be 4th down, and we'll call it 3. Or they'll, 4th and 4. We'll call it 4. And the Celina Bulldogs are going to go for it. Cooper Jones in the shotgun. Silliman beside him. He drops straight back, passes out. And they're going to say he caught that. No, it hit the ground. One official said it hits the ground. Pass was intended to Colin Harris.
Let's see here on the replay. Yep, definitely hit the ground.
Good call there by the back judge. And it'll give the Rough Riders the football. 1st and 10 at the Celina 38-yard line. So the Rough Riders will start this out in pretty good field position. And of course the clock becomes the ally now of the St. Mary's Rough Riders. Running a lot of clock and putting one on the board. Well,
yeah, I think we'll see
a long way, wouldn't it?
I think we'll see a healthy amount of
runs.
Good old Rough Rider up the middle football. Hold on to the ball.
Exactly.
Get a couple yards. Let's burn some clock up.
Hinkle on the carry for the Rough Riders. Goes right up the gut on a trap. We'll give him a gain of about 1 on the play. We'll call it second down and 9.
Hearing the coaches down here pulling some of the second and third stringers up, maybe some of the JV kids.
Here again, Coach Fry telling his players to get back. And of course, Zach, when you look down below us, the rudders are right below us. There's not a lot of room between the line that they have to stay back and the stand. So they don't have a lot of room to work.
No, maybe 6 feet between the field and the stands.
Ty Howell sweeps left. He's going to go back. He's going to go back, and then he'll turn right back up the middle. And he made something out of nothing, to be honest with you.
Yep. Celina did a great job of flowing out there, had him all bottled up. He tried to cut back field. I think he thought about taking it all the way across the field. There were some Celina guys over there, so he just cut it up the middle.
Good pursuit by the Celina defense, forcing Ty Howell to go back the other direction, and then he goes up the middle and slips a little bit. And he'll give him a gain of about 1. So it's third down and 8. We'll call it. The ball's on the Celina 36-yard line. Austin Parks wide to the left. We've got whistles on the field. We've got a timeout called by Celina. So with 5 minutes and 36 seconds remaining in the contest, Rough Riders lead 35-6 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back right after this.
Fellowship of Christian Athletes is a middle school and high school club looking to spread God's love throughout numerous schools and communities of our local area. FCA's favorite play of the game is both teams joining together in prayer at the conclusion of the game. God bless you, sports fans.
All righty, 5 minutes and 36 seconds remaining here at Bulldog Stadium. Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell, where the Rough Riders find themselves with a third down and 8 situation. The ball is at the 36-yard line. We have 2 receivers split right, Parks and Troglin. Bupp goes back. He's flushed out of the pocket, and he is going to be brought down for no gain. And that'll bring up 4th down and about 8 for the Rough Riders. So
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were going to see a pass there. You know, I thought maybe Doug Fry would want to eat up some more clock. Seemed to kind of have an open receiver there, but certainly don't want him forcing anything at this point in the game.
Absolutely. So it'll be fourth down for the Rough Riders, and they're going to go for it.
Guess that was Doug Fry was thinking, is he got another down.
Bupp's going to go straight back. He's looking for Parks downfield. He's going to launch it, and he overthrows him. Parks had the defense beat, but not a particularly good throw by Kurt Bupp. But here again, in a situation like this, if your receiver cannot get it, then nobody gets it.
Right.
So Kurt Bupp kind of just launched it out there, and nobody was able to get it. So it'll bring loss of downs for St. Mary's, and Celina will have the ball.
I love that play call because if you saw there in the replay, Austin Parks had about 6 or 7 inches on the defensive back.
For sure. Well, keep in mind, Austin Parks is 6'7".
Right.
So anybody he goes up against, he's going to have about 6-7 inches on.
So very easily, could have easily reached above the defender there.
So Celina will have the football, 1st and 10 at their own 36, 4:50 remaining. Here comes Paul. And that pass was intended for number 4, Stogler, and he was shoved out of bounds immediately by Dylan Troglin, and the pass was just thrown out of bounds. Good defense there by Troglin. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, I think Cooper Jones was just again trying to get rid of it. He had a defender in his face. Really great job with his poise in the pocket. He's able to get rid of these balls, even with some defenders right up in his face.
Jones will give the ball to number 24, and that is Jaden King in the ball game for Celina. We'll give King a gain of about 2 on the play. We'll call it 3rd down and 8. So it'll be King behind Cooper Jones in the shotgun. He's going to stand up, a quick pass, and it's picked off. No, it's incomplete. Boy, I thought Carson Fishbach went down and picked it up off the turf. He was going to get an interception, but ball comes loose, and it'll be 4th down for Celina.
He nearly got it off the ground there. A little tough to see, but did a great job of trying to get under it.
So to bring up 4th down for Celina, and they're going to go for it. They have nothing to lose with 4:12 remaining in the contest. 4th down and 8 at their own 38. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Jones by himself in the backfield. Stands up quickly, and pass not even close. Pass was intended for Colin Harris. The ball sails out of bounds, and Celina will give the ball up on downs as St. Mary's will come back out on the field. Looks like we see a few new numbers entering into the contest. We'll see if we can get them to you. Number 23 is into the ball game for St. Mary's. Zach Hesse. Full house backfield for the Rough Riders. Bupp will give the ball to Aiden Hinkle right up the middle. Good run by Hinkle. We'll give him a gain of about 12 on the play. It'll be a 1st down for the Rough Riders. Good job for the Rough Rider offense on the trap. Riley Swigert, Stash Patterson, Logan Allen up there as well. Give a lot of credit to Devin Shannon up there.
That number 8, Carson Fishbach, coming in for Ty Howe. I don't know if we'll see Ty Howe again on offense.
Rough Riders in a full house backfield. Bupp under center, turns. He'll give the ball to Hinkle. Hinkle right up the gut on the trap play. He picks up a couple, but more importantly, the clock continues to run. Celina has 2 timeouts left. The Rough Riders have 2 timeouts left.
You know, I really appreciate, Joe, that there's 3 minutes left in this game. Score's 35-6. But if you didn't know what the score was, if you just were watching the players, you'd have no idea. Both sides are just still playing tough. Absolutely. A lot of emotion. Especially there on the Celina's last drive. You know, they were playing as hard as they were in the first quarter.
Carson Fishbach sweeps to the left. He'll spin inside and pick up about 4 on the play. Gavin Reinecke's in the ball game for St. Mary's. He was split out far to the left on the last play. He'll come to the sideline. And enter comes number 16 into the ball game for St. Mary's. And that's Riley Metz. So St. Mary's starting to insert some of the younger players, get them a little bit more Friday Night Light experience. 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining. Obviously this one belongs to the Rough Riders. Metz wide to the right. Split backfield, give the ball to Hinkle up front. Hinkle breaks a tackle and keeps churning forward. He'll pick up the first down. So the Rough Riders will get a new set of downs.
Well, we see the Rough Riders just continue to hand the ball to their workhorse, Aiden Hinkle. Why not when you can get 3 or 4 yards of carry here? Keep that clock running.
We're under 2 minutes here in the ball game as Gavin Reinecke comes in with the play from head coach Doug Fry. He'll relay it to Kurt Bupp. He'll bring the offense out. Reinecke wide to the left, split backfield. Give the ball to Carson Fishbach, sweep to the left, and he's going to run out of bounds. And that'll stop the clock with 1:40 remaining in the contest.
Well, that's the one thing you don't want your halfback to do in that situation. Just
run out of bounds.
At all costs, just go down, Carson. That's okay. It gives Coach Fry maybe a chance to get some more players in here.
Absolutely. Riley Metz wide to the right. Quick pitch, it'll go to Hinkle to the short side of the field. He'll square his shoulders up and he'll gain a few. Clock continues to run, so he stayed in bounds. Good job running the football by Hinkle, just putting his shoulder down and getting what he can and staying in bounds. We got a face mask on the play?
Looks like it. I think he ripped Aiden Hinkle's helmet off.
Well, that'll bring it down to about the five-yard line, I believe.
Looks like number 44, Ryan Meyer, coming into the ball game. Tight end.
Also, Ross Henson will come in at fullback for St. Mary's. So it'll be first down and goal at the Celina 4. (35-6) on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. We'll be under a minute when this one's snapped. Oh, we're going to the victory formation. This one's over. They're going to let the play clock run down. It's at 7. And Bupp will take a knee.
Well, it is a rivalry game, so you thought for a second maybe we'd try to put a score in there, but I can tell you, Coach Fry, he'll always look to kneel it there if he can.
And the St. Mary's Rough Riders, with this 35-6 win, will run their record to 7-2 overall, 6-2 in the Western Buckeye League. And we're going to check a few of the scores to see if we can find out what OG is doing with Kenton. The last score we had, it was OG 9, Kenton nothing. Still the same?
Looks like Kenton got on the scoreboard 9-7.
9-7. 15 seconds remaining. And that is the ball game. So the St. Mary's Rough Riders win going away. 35, St. Mary's 6 for the Celina Senior Bulldogs. On the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, we'll take this break. We'll come right back with our post-game show from Bulldog Stadium right after this.
Have you heard about TSC's referral program? Refer your friends and family and you both get a credit matching the services they chose. That's right, we'll credit your invoice. There's no limit to the number of friends you can refer. So come back to your local hometown provider and bring your friends and family with you. We'll reward you both.
TSC, give us a call and see. It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Back at Bulldog Stadium, Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. where the Rough Riders win going away, 35-6 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Again, the Rough Riders now run their record to 7-2 overall, 6-2 in the Western Buckeye League. And Celina's, with the loss, drops to 3-6 overall, 2-6 in the Western Buckeye League. And of course, we talked about the playoff projections, and everybody considers the Rough Riders, if they continue to win out, could possibly finish in the 5th spot. And a lot of things can happen with the teams above them, 1 through 4, as the final 2 weeks of the season wind down. But everything looks like that the Rough Riders may maintain in that 5th spot to move forward. So
yeah. Walpock was able to beat Defiance tonight, 42-7. So you hate to look past anybody, but certainly it looks like most likely the Riders will get the win next week and put themselves in a good position. It'll be really interesting to see how the other teams in the region end up and where we're traveling, or if somehow we could slip into the top 4 and host a home playoff game at the new stadium.
That would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it?
It would. Just to give you an update, Joe, Ottawa Glandorf and Kenton 9-7 still. Elida and Shawnee. Shawnee's beating Elida 42-10. So that game that was once close has gotten away now. The Bath and Van Wert game, it still says that it's at half, but that may be just not being updated. 14-7. And then, as I just said, Wapak ended up beating Defiance 42-7. So besides the Kitten and OG game, not too many surprises there. Be interesting to see how that one finishes.
Absolutely. Well, the Rough Riders win going away here, 35-6. Our post-game show is being brought to you by Hewer Renovating. If you're looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer is your go-to man. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Improve your investment by giving Hewer Renovating a call at 419-394-8643. Zach, when you look at this ball game, one thing that I noticed is the defense. Celina moved the football. They only had 6 points to show for what they did this evening. But it's almost like the defense bent, but they didn't break. When they had to come up with big plays, they came up with big plays. And, of course, when you talk about Celina's offense, you're focusing on 2 people, Cooper Jones and Jackson Silliman. So they did attempt to throw the football a little bit, but the Rough Rider defense came up big when they had to.
Yeah, and haven't we been saying that all year, too, that the Rough Rider defense is just a bend-don't-break type of defense? They will give you the short passes sometimes, especially if you're able to execute it. They'll let you march down the field, and then they'll put the pressure on you. And the biggest thing that they'll do is they'll take advantage of the mistakes that you make. So if you're going to overthrow it, if you're going to bobble the ball in the air, if you're going to give them a tipped ball somewhere over the middle, or if you're going to hold the ball out unprotected as you're running, they're going to step up and they're going to knock the ball out of your hand. They're going to come up with the ball usually, and as we've seen tonight and most of this year, if they get the ball in their hand on the defense, they very well may be taking it down for a score, which we certainly were able to see tonight.
Yeah, Tanner Howell did a great job. He picked up a fumble and took it to the house, so he got on the board. The defense got on the board. Of course, we had an interception by Ethan Wedding on the defensive side. Of course, they put a lot of pressure on Cooper Jones. Offensively, like I said, the Rough Riders started out slow to start this ball game. Inside tackle to tackle in the first 2 series. Then they started to widen the field a little bit. The Rough Rider offense ran a lot of plays into the short side of the field.
Yeah.
And eventually they was able to hit the long 31-yard touchdown pass from Kurt Bupp to Ty Howe. And from there, the wheels started to spin.
Yeah, despite the score, Celina actually did a pretty good job, I think, defensively of stopping the Rough Riders really tonight. They stopped them from really putting together any real big drives. They did have some long plays that they gave up, but really defensively, Celina seemed to figure out some of the Rough Riders, which we talked about. They do have those seniors up there in the defensive line, and they certainly. I don't know if Celina's playing at home next week or not, but if this was the last home game for some of those seniors, certainly showed great effort there.
Our post-game show is being brought to you once again by Hewer Renovating. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If you're looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer, he's your go-to guy. Improve your investment by giving Hewer Renovating a call at 419-394-8643. Now here to take a look at the statistics in this contest. Once again, here's Zach.
So for first down, St. Mary's had 14, Celina had 16. Total offensive yards, St. Mary's had 227, Celina had 214. St. Mary's was 1 for 3 passing with 1 touchdown. Celina was 12 for 24 with 1 interception. Passing net yards for St. Mary's 31 and 85 for Celina. St. Mary's had 47 rushing attempts for 196 yards. Celina had 35 rushing attempts for 129 yards. Celina had 2 fumbles and both of them were lost. Those were big parts of the St. Mary's victory. St. Mary's had 3 penalties for 45 yards. Celina had 5 penalties for 34 yards. St. Mary's was 5 for 11 on third down conversions. Celina was 2 for 11. The average drive starting point didn't get much better for Celina. They started their drives at the 29-yard line. St. Mary's, on the other hand, still averaged a starting drive on the 48-yard line. So really made a difference there. St. Mary's got a little bit more back in the time of possession. Possessed it for 18 minutes, 55 seconds. Celina for 24 minutes, 57 seconds. Looking at some of the individuals for St. Mary's, Kurt Bupp, of course, the quarterback with all 3 of the attempts, one completion on that. For rushing, Aiden Hinkle had 14 rushes for 52 yards. His longest was 11 yards, and he had that touchdown early on in the game. Ty Howell had 13 rushes for 89 yards, his longest being 25. And of course, he had 2 touchdowns. Really was a man on fire there the second half with some of those runs. Really like that energy that he's able to show. Ethan Wedding had 6 rushes for 12 yards. Dylan Troglin had 5 rushes for 35 yards. Dylan Troglin really provided a spark there early on in the game on those sweeps. Like to see that. For Celina, Cooper Jones was your quarterback, the only one to throw the ball tonight. 24 attempts, 12 completions for 85 yards, as long as being a 19-yard. And of course, he did have that 1 interception, no touchdowns. Cooper Jones, 17 rushes for 81 yards and a touchdown. Jackson Silliman, 16 rushes for 46 yards, as long as being 6 yards. And Jaden King, just 1 rush for 2 yards. Receiving for Celina, Brandon Stogler, 6 catches on thrown to 10 times. He only had 28 yards, and his longest was 11 yards. Max Toby had 3 catches, was thrown to 5 times. 22 yards was his 22 yards total, his longest being 19 yards. And Quinn Andrews, thrown to twice, caught twice for 18 yards. His longest was 12 yards. So a lot of smaller stats with some of the players getting in there at the end, but those are the main ones.
Sure.
And really, again, Joe, not too far apart.
Right.
227 yards for St. Mary's, 214 for Celina.
Yeah, that statistic is glaring to me. So it's almost like the biggest statistic of the evening was that on the scoreboard.
Right.
35 points for the Rough Riders, 6 for Celina. So that's going to do it for our broadcast tonight. We hope you enjoyed it here on Rider Nation Station. Once again, we want to remind you that you can watch the replays of the Celina St. Mary's game on TSC channel 702 and 13.1 starting Monday at 10 o'clock. And also we want to remind you, of course, we'll be live next Thursday night at Guarneri's Pizzeria and Pub with our Rules of the Game. Stop in about 7:30 and join Mark Sisko and host Greg Farrell as they bring you Rules of the Game. And, of course, next Friday we'll conclude the regular season as Zach and I will be at the Grand Lake Health Systems Field in St. Mary's to bring you the season finale between the St. Mary's Rough Riders and the Defiance Bulldogs. Once again, our final score, the St. Mary's Rough Riders 35, the Celina Bulldogs 6 for my colleague Zach Farrell and our entire Rider Nation Station crew, our cameramen and our people in the truck. We hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast of this Western Buckeye League matchup. Once again, the final score, St. Mary's Rough Riders 35, the Celina Bulldogs 6. Again, for Zach Farrell, I'm Joe Hurlbert. We'll see you next week with more Rough Rider football on Rider Nation Station. So long, everyone.
Thanks for watching another episode of Rider Nation Station. Help us help you by subscribing on YouTube or following us on Facebook.